and Smythe host the Team Podcast. We love sports just like you.
Welcome to episode 42 of the Team Podcast. Nash is not here, so Wells is hosting. And alongside me is the great DJ Smythe.
Not a DJ.
And joining us this week, very special, very happy to have two women.
Two
women here.
Why? Which?
With me is Sue Ellen Baldwin, we'll call Seb.
Hi.
And Megan Benson, we'll call...
Meg. like Meg from Family Guy, Meg.
There you go.
Okay, so we get to pick on her all episode.
Yeah, basically the whole time. Now, this marks a lot of firsts on this show. This is the first time we have women on the show. This may be also the first time we have logical, critical thinkers on the show. Welcome, guys.
Switching it up.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
So we're gonna have a different format this week, but it's like the kitchen table format that we have, which we've had before. This will be the first one of season 2. Basically, we're just gonna throw out our usual topics that we talk about and of what's happened in the last week, and we're gonna just do I don't know. We're just gonna do it's like a Q&A, like an interview session.
It's a free for all.
Yeah, it's gonna be a free for all. So we're gonna go over our NFL picks. We're gonna get that out of the way, and then we're gonna just get into the topics that I thought would be interesting to have with our guests today. We're gonna be talking about hot athletes and the best uniforms in the leagues, and no. So let's start with our NFL. Let's go over our picks from last week, okay?
Okay. How did I do? Let's
no, it's not about how you did. It's how we all did, all right?
How did I do?
So week 7, Nash led the week. He went 4-1.
I hate when that happens.
It's very unfortunate that he won. Yourself, you went 3-2. And myself, I crapped the bed and I went 2-3.
Jesus.
That's because he sucks. That's why.
No, because I was cruising for the first 6 weeks. I was 19-11. Now I'm 21-14. Nash is 21-14, and you are 20-15.
What?
So we are almost halfway through the season, and we are pretty much in a dogfight.
Yep.
Okay, so let's just jump into what we want to pick this week, and you guys can also choose.
You guys have to make picks this week.
Okay,
and you'll be judged on this.
Write these down too, because no one's paying attention, but we're gonna write them down anyway.
Okay.
What's gonna happen is you're only gonna have 5 picks.
When I say we're doing five games that I've chosen, and no point spread, nothing. You're just choosing who's gonna win. Okay, it's pretty simple, right?
Yep. Pretty easy. Pick a winner.
All right.
Pick the victor.
So, first game. Philadelphia, the defending Super Bowl champions, and Jacksonville are playing in England. Who do you guys have? Meg, I'll start with you. I see you have, it's like you know who you're already going to take. You were going to cut me off before I even said anything.
No, I just wanted to get this NFL shit out of the way. I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
Oh.
Damn.
Seb?
No, that was my pick too, honestly.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Fighter.
Yeah.
I will take Philly.
Okay, you'll be wrong.
For any reason?
Jacksonville, I don't know if you've watched them play the last 3 weeks. They're absolutely garbage. Blake Bortles is playing like he's in high heels.
And they said they're starting again this week.
But see, I agree. I think that's why they need the UK air. Maybe it can,
UK
change.
Air.
Yeah.
Here we go. The
Honestly,
UK air. Usually we're talking about time zones and everything.
It's different air over there. So it's going to help them, honestly.
That's the first totally different
They need to bend it like Beckham.
Wait, who plays better in the rain?
That's good. You know what? That's a great point.
Probably Philly, because
Philly is a disastrous
open air,
city. Yeah. Well, they're both open air, but
Jacksonville's Florida.
Yeah.
Probably not as much. Oh, but it's humid. Okay, we're going to get into meteorological stuff now.
Too much.
Second one.
Who do you have, Smythe?
I'm taking Philly because in Jacksonville, the quarterback controversy has already started. I'm not sure Blake Bortles can play with pressure of him not starting anymore if he doesn't get this right. If they don't win in England,
so
the next week he's not starting.
You and me are on Philly. These two ladies are on the Jags.
Yep.
And the other lady who's not here right now, Nash, is on the Jaguars as well.
You picked Jacksonville?
Yeah, he picked Jacksonville.
Of course.
Okay, game 2. This one's a little more. We're staying in the North America, and we're doing the northern North America. Yes,
Okay, yeah.
Actually, kind of is. Well, it's like in the middle of North America. The Baltimore Ravens against the Carolina Panthers. The spread is -2 for the Ravens. Smythe,
Or,
you go first.
They're at home.
Carolina's at home.
Carolina's home?
Yeah.
Carolina. Not losing at home.
Okay. I will take
Baltimore.
the Ravens because I'm a fellow AFC North fan. Nash takes the Ravens as well. Ladies?
I have no feeling about this one, but I'll go with.
Where is it? Does it rain hard in Carolina?
I'll go with Baltimore because I used to watch That's So Raven.
Nice. Great logic.
Yeah.
And Seb?
Yeah, no, I'm going Raven too, and it's for my mother, who will be thrilled that she got a shout out because she was cheering for them in their Super Bowl because she loved the name Raven and was mad
Wow.
a grandchild wasn't named
So
that. And that was it.
I had the over under at 6.5 minutes of when Seb would mention her mother.
Really?
No, I didn't.
I'm like, should have put side bets on this, honestly.
Okay.
It was 2 minutes.
So we have 4 of us are voting for the Ravens, and just you, Smythe. You're a big Panthers fan.
I'm gonna
right?
win. I'm
big
gonna
Cam
win.
Newton fan.
See, so Nash didn't take the Panthers because he always takes the Panthers, and this week he's gonna be wrong.
Yeah, it's weird. I agree. Let me just double check. Did he take? He definitely took the Ravens.
You
I'm
know what?
looking at it.
If you text him right now, he'll respond in 5 minutes. I guarantee you.
Okay.
Where's his honeymoon? Like, where's he honeymooning?
Nowhereville.
Nowhereville, cool.
Yeah. No, he's
Cali
right now. He's in Northern California, so like the Bay,
Nice.
the Bay Area, and I think he's gonna work his way down.
Yeah, doing the drive.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
Northern North America.
No, that's South Northern America.
Right, my bad.
Game 3, we have the Seattle Seahawks against going on the road in a time zone difference game.
I know who I'm
In
taking.
Detroit. So just to let you ladies know, anytime there's a time zone difference where a West Coast team is playing at like 1 p.m., which is technically 10 a.m., Smythe will automatically take the team that is against the West Coast team. So I already know he's taking Detroit right now, right?
Okay. Time zone advantage is a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's a thing for him.
Right.
and just let you know, he was 0-2 this year.
No, I have a game. I have a win. I have a
uh-oh.
win. I'm 1 in.
Okay.
I'm 1 and 2.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the other team?
Sorry, Seattle Seahawks and Detroit Lions.
Yeah, okay.
2 of your favorite teams playing together. I know it's going to be tough for you to choose.
I'm going Detroit. What?
Okay, Detroit Lions, 8 Mile. Sev?
Seahawks, half Filipino Baldwin.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. He's
I didn't know that.
My homes, my family. We're related, I'm sure.
I know you guys can't see right now on the airwaves, but Sue Ellen is half Filipino.
Yes.
The good half.
As you can tell.
Yeah. I mean, well,
by hearing my voice.
By my
I'm
voice.
you
clear.
can't
Yes.
tell because she showed up on time. So
I did. It's very rare.
I will also take the Lions,
Ooh.
and Nash
that
is
time zone
on.
game.
Nash is on the Seahawks.
You know what? He's just trying to pick up points. Okay. What I think is at the end of this week, there's going to be a definitive winner, and that person's going to carry it out all the way for the rest of the week. I think that's going to be me. But let's keep going.
Okay. All right. The next game we have here are the Washington R words. We do not say.
The team from Washington.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate
Good
this.
on you
Thank
guys.
you.
We do not. We
Good
do
on
not
you.
support
Thank you.
that.
Yes.
And they are traveling to New Jersey, technically, to play the New York Football Giants. The spread is -1 for the R words. I'll start with you, Seb.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's tough. It's really,
That was
really
a tough one. I mean,
Why? Please tell me.
no. Okay. Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be at least,
Because you
some
saw that
Giants
movie
that win in the
with
NFL,
Devin
right?
Sawa, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like, Little Giants.
Oh, it's coming up. Yeah, we're talking about that.
Can you stop? You're already hitting my list here.
Yeah.
It's wrecking that.
That's a
Yeah,
foreshadow.
exactly. It is a
Foreshadow.
Anyway, also Giants.
Okay.
Know that.
Smythe?
Washington.
Yeah, I'm taking the R words as well as Nash.
I don't like when we all took the same team.
Okay.
It's a bad omen.
And the last game on this list is probably the game of the week, I think. New Orleans is traveling to Minnesota against the Vikings. Yeah, look at this. Even people who have no idea about the NFL are like, oh, wow.
Hey,
Kirk
hey.
Cousins? Drew Brees? Is this actually happening? Yes.
happening.
Yeah.
That was my train of thought exactly.
So I will lead off. Who am I taking? I'm taking the Vikings.
I knew that you took
Nash is taking the Saints. Smythe, go ahead.
Saints.
Saints as well on the road, eh? Do you think they're going to win 2 back-to-back games on the road?
I don't think anyone could beat them right now.
Okay, they have a loss this year, so someone did beat them
I know, but that was the first game.
against Fitzmagic. Yeah. So okay, fair enough.
forgotten who you're talking about. But,
New Orleans is playing Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota has the cool skull
Yeah.
chant that they ripped off of Iceland. So a lot of people are like hip with that.
That's so overdone now. I'm
It
going
is.
Nol-
Everyone does it.
Nolans.
Nolans.
Nah.
Okay. And Seb, to close out our picks.
I love New Orleans, but I'm going Vikings because I love their jerseys.
Oh, here we go. The
Yeah.
first. I love
Yeah.
the jerseys.
I love their
I love the
jerseys.
jerseys.
They got some sweet jerseys.
Okay. All right. So that's going to close out our picks
True. It's purple. It's
for
cool.
this week.
Wait, you gotta make a Pro Line ticket.
I do. You're right. If you want to lose money, then listen to what I'm about to say right now. It's a bit early, though. Usually I do it on a Thursday.
I understand, but we're not doing it on Thursday, so you gotta do it.
I know. So I'm just trying to buy time before I bring up the bets right now.
I have a decent ticket for you, like right now.
What is it?
Miami's covering, Philly's covering. Like those are
Wait,
absolute
what day is it?
100% covers.
October
Tomorrow, Miami,
20.
Houston. Houston's an 8-point favorite. No way they're covering that.
Okay, I got it. So yeah, I like the Bears -7.5 at home against the Jets. I like Detroit -3 against the Seahawks. Kansas City -10 against Denver.
Kansas City.
Yeah, there we go. Wow. And Pittsburgh -8 at home against Cleveland.
Dude, San Fran, Arizona's a pick 'em right now.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know
I
why
know it's
either.
in Arizona, but like what?
And then let's close out with your power rankings, your top 5 teams. I can't wait to hear the filth that comes out of your mouth here.
Do you want to hear the worst thing about it? The worst thing about it is I kind of conformed. So my honorable mentions are the team from Washington. Obviously, they're playing good football. They're the only team that's over 500 in the NFC East.
That's right.
Did you guys expect that to happen?
No.
First of all, that gives them a 2.5 game lead on the division, which is ridiculous. But
Over
here we
who?
are. Over everybody else.
Yeah.
Because Philly is second. I have the Panthers playing Panthers football. I think they're going to finish.
Classic Panthers
I
football.
think 9-7 is going to be an okay record for them. I don't think they're going to do anything
You
exceptional.
have the Panthers every week for some reason.
They're always on there, right? And
I
the
don't get
Green
it.
Bay Packers have crawled back up my list. I think this is the week they get it done. I think they beat the Rams this week. So that's my big
Wow.
surprise of the week. That's my upset pick.
Panthers don't play the Rams this week.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't, man. We just went over this. The Panthers
Not
are...
the Packers play the Rams, not the Panthers. I'm sorry. Packers are going to beat the Rams. My third honorable mention.
Well, that changes everything.
We're talking about the Panthers.
That was my second honorable mention. My third honorable mention is the
Oh,
Packers.
okay.
Who I think
Wow.
are going to get it
Just
done this week, and they're going to be the team that just
stumbling over your own picks.
whatever. Anyway, number 5, LA Chargers. Still getting it done. But they can't go up this list because they can't beat any other 4 teams. Number 4, the New Orleans Saints. They've fallen a bit on the list because they're always allowing points or just scoring more, which, it works out, but it's not. It can't stay in the top 3 the whole season, okay? The top 3, the Pats fall down a spot, and I don't know why I put
They
them
won.
down a spot. But it's 41 to 38 every week. You can't allow 30-plus points every week.
You just
and expect
realized
Tom
this.
Brady to figure this out consistently. I mean, it's got to stop sometime, right? Number 2 are the Chiefs because they are for real. I know we're talking about the Thanksgiving game, and when Thanksgiving's over, what happens to them? But
Yeah, Andy Reid.
I see it not happening, okay? And for the first time ever, the Rams are number 1.
Well, they're
Because
undefeated.
I'm under pressure because everyone else in the world has these guys
Yeah.
at number 1 in the power rankings. And I said, maybe it's time. And also, I didn't want to have a power rankings where they were never number 1 because after they lose to the Packers this week, they got to fall down the list.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's absolutely no chance they lose to the Packers this
Wow.
week.
See? That's why it's an upset. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. So, yeah, there's my top 5. Next week's going to change because the Rams will lose and they'll move down that list. That's all.
Okay. All right.
That is the
All right. So
gospel as spoken by me.
our football Week 7 recap and Week 8 preview are done.
We got through that in 15 minutes.
We did. We
You know
did.
how long that
Usually
usually
that takes us like 45 minutes.
There you go. See, we're keeping it
Right?
efficient.
We're
yeah.
making it happen right
Okay.
now.
Things are going along.
So now we're going to get into the kitchen table subjects, which is the main reason why we brought these 2 ladies with us to kind of get a different insight than what we usually have on our show.
Appreciate it.
Usually we have brooding, hulking men just
masculine
giving off
opinions at all
terrible
times.
takes.
So
That
now
they-
you have brooding, hulking women
Yes.
also giving terrible takes.
yes,
Absolutely not.
but
It
it's
depends on your-
a different aspect, different view. I know there's a lot of people who are excited to hear what your input is on certain subjects that we're going to talk about. When we were at the wedding on Saturday, shout out to Nash who got married this weekend. By the way, I don't know why
Congratulations.
I don't know why it's taking this long to mention it, but Nash is now off the market, unfortunately. But
I love how you were like, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you know,
It
that
was a sad day
yeah.
for Wells.
But there was a lot of people who came up to me and they're like, "So who's coming? Like, who are these women on your show this week?"
Right.
I'm like, "Well, you tune in and find out."
There you go.
And they thought like my day was one. I'm like, "No, I wouldn't put this person on
We
airs."
spent the last month promoting this show.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Seriously?
Yeah, you guys
Wells
listen.
didn't even ask us a month ago.
You know what? He magically was like, it's going to
It's gonna happen.
No,
It's gonna
no.
happen.
I will say the last 2 weeks I promoted these two
Thank you.
because
Okay.
But I have to say, we put the idea out there into
We
the
did.
universe a little
Nice.
while
We
ago.
did.
yeah.
We let it permeate.
We-
Side note:
yeah.
these ladies have thought of having a podcast called. Well, you guys tell me what it was called because I
I need
kinda-
the whole idea behind it. You got to keep going. Just give me all of it.
It's called the Pumpkin Spice Podcast. Yeah, I think it came from when you could watch TV and have commentary and closed captioning. It could be French,
which is
English,
which is an option I
Punjabi.
thought would have
Punjabi,
happened by now.
or pumpkin
Or pumpkin
spice. Yeah,
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just another language, really.
so it's stuck. It's stuck in Wells' head. Like this needs to happen.
It does.
We,
I was-
happening.
we dropped the idea initially. Well, the first time we made it public knowledge was when we met Jackie Redmond and Sophia.
Oh, that's
Gruber,
right.
whatever.
Jerk store?
At the rec
Jerk store, that's
room.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were super encouraging.
They were.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
Well, they actually
then they
just,
turned away
They
and
actually
probably
just
let-
launched their
They-
own
they
podcast
did, they
about
did.
a month ago.
That's right.
Yeah. Who they have on last? Their baseball player on last week.
Did they? I feel like they've had hockey players mostly, but
Yeah, they're
I feel that's
what are they called?
Okay.
Puck bunnies? Wait, we
I
can't
don't
say
know.
that.
I'm not sure about that.
We can't say that on.
Well,
It's like the.
Or is it more baseball play? What?
no.
No.
Give me the
what?
skinny
It's
on
just,
this.
if you go off Jackie Redmond's hit list, it's a pretty big hit list. Rumored to be a
Not
pretty
rumored. It's a pretty big hit.
But I haven't heard any hockey players on it.
First of all, good for her. Yo, I cheer her on every day.
She's doing her thing.
She's
doing her thing.
She's one of my like.
Yeah.
She's like.
she's
yeah.
A-okay,
She's
right?
a, she's a small town girl that took it to the next level. She
Yeah.
went on and she's like, I'm gonna get the most.
Well, it's
Yeah.
funny
Out of
because
this.
she was like, you know, those like shows, those like, reality shows where you like compete to get a co-anchor position on like
Yeah.
midnight on Tuesday nights, the coveted midnight
Right.
shift.
Yeah.
She actually turned that into, she's, you know, probably the biggest person to come out of any of those
For
shows,
sure.
right?
Viable
true.
career.
Which-
The only guy who was close. Remember Rick the Temp from Much Music?
Of course.
Who
Rick
doesn't?
Campanelli.
Who doesn't?
He was a legend.
Yes.
He was.
He's still on like E Canada online.
he's
something.
huge.
Yeah,
He's huge.
still
Yeah.
totally
He's
doing
like the
his
John
Did well for
Tesh
himself.
of like Canadian media. Him and Mulrooney or
Yeah,
whatever.
but after Rick the Temp, same. She's
Yeah.
a name.
Yeah.
She's right up.
No,
there.
it's good for her,
She's
man.
a hard worker.
Yeah.
I love to hate her. I hate her mostly out of jealousy. But
My
Truthfully.
only problem with her is like every time she does a show or something, it's like she's dressed for the prom, like with her dresses and her makeup.
That's her
like,
brand. That's all she has.
Fair enough. Fair
just
enough.
glad she's like-
and her sports knowledge, her in-depth knowledge. Of
She does have.
She does have knowledge.
Yes,
She does.
Good for
not a
her.
dummy.
No.
She does her research, and I will say that misplays of the month
Yeah.
have not been the same since.
No. Agreed. Agreed.
So if we can all just
She
raise
needs
a
to come
glass
back.
to Jackie
and do
Redmond.
that.
She
Doing
ain't
well
never
in New
coming
York.
back.
No.
She can't come back
won't.
here.
She's in
can't
New
come-
York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout outs to Jackie Redmond
Cool.
if you're listening.
Okay, this is the Jackie Redmond tribute podcast.
There you go.
Got it. Okay, so first subject, first topic, we're gonna just wrap the hop, and this is gonna go for all three of you guys. And we'll start with Seb.
Sweet.
What exactly do sports mean to you, and like how has it affected you? Like what is so good about sports?
Oh
Gosh,
man, we're
get your
getting
tissues.
yes.
Get
Oh
your
my
tissues
gosh,
ready.
yeah,
There's-
we're gonna
there's-
cry.
I
Like
think-
honestly, we're gonna cry.
I think she wrote stuff down.
I did write some down
But
because-
she has come prepared.
I
Like
I'm so
I'm
prepared.
like this paper isn't cheap paper either. This is
It
nice
is
paper.
my high quality printer paper.
What?
Is
That
it
is how
waterproof?
much. Yes.
Is it waterproof?
No, I've already spilt a
She's
little
already
bit on
cried
it.
on it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, prepared to get weepy. Story of my life. No, so I've always considered sports to be like this beautiful enigma because it's.
Whoa.
No,
You
seriously.
have to watch
I
the
know.
words you use because you have to understand the people
The
listening to this.
listeners. Consider the listeners.
I'm-
I'm going to explain. I'm
I have
going
to write this
explain.
down. Yeah,
Beautiful enigma.
He's
No,
got
because
dictionary.com open.
it's totally like a method of escaping, but at the same time, I've always found it so like inherently tied to memories and family and your upbringing. And it's such a social thing too that I love to enjoy with other people. And whether that's, you know, all the sports growing up, that every single night I'd be on the couch with my dad, we'd be watching hockey, football, basketball, baseball, whatever it was. Those are the memories that kind of stick with you no matter what. And there's that joy and that love and that camaraderie that comes alongside with it that's like no other. And on a more kind of recent personal level, the competitive side of sports kind of sort of drives that internal, you know, desire of mine to do better, to be better. You see these guys who are legends and you look up to them, and it just makes you want to compete for what you want in your life. So it's not just throwing a ball. It's not just, you know, hitting a ball or whatever it is. It can permeate into throwing, hitting. That's all it is. Just throwing, hitting, catching, or like swinging at a ball, you know. But it can permeate into like every aspect of your life. But at the end of the day, it's an escape, but it's memories and it's love and it's friendship and camaraderie. And I love it. Sports month. Sports month.
Can we just...
No,
we're not clapping.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was
you.
very eloquent.
I can't even applaud for you guys getting through NFL in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Meg, what can you add on to that Seb maybe mentioned, and you can like
that she didn't mention?
Sorry.
Well,
sorry.
What can you add on that she did mention, or what can you add on that's a different take from that you can give another perspective of?
I don't know that it's so much a different take, but I quite literally do not know life without sports. So it's hard for me to put into words exactly what it is. But, you know, I get asked, well, what's your passion? Sports. What do you watch on TV? Sports. What do you do in your free time? Sports. How'd you meet your boyfriend? Sports.
Yeah.
You know, it's my answer to almost anything, not on purpose at all. It's just that's the way it is. I started playing sports from a very young age and have never stopped. If I count the number of friends that I've met through sports, you know, it outweighs even friends that I've stayed in touch with through school. Like, it's such a huge part of my life.
And when you say friends, you mean not just like going out and a social aspect of watching, you know, like say a Leaf game at a bar, but like, I think one of my, like something I can take off from you, because we've known each other for a long time, is when you started actually playing recreational hockey, is like you met a lot of your like your close friends now.
Absolutely. From
just playing recreational hockey, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's a big takeaway from that is not just like going out and watching sports, but like meeting people playing recreational sports, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if I can just touch on that
Please do.
alone, I just think that sports are so valuable to kids, obviously, in many apparent ways, but also to adults. And you touched on when I joined recreational hockey, that was as an adult. It was something that I took on myself because I had wanted to learn how to play for forever. You know, and that's as an adult, that's tough to do, to put yourself out there and learn something new. And to do it on your own. So, you know, I was obviously nervous doing it, more so excited, but a little bit of nerves. And they didn't last long. I met incredible people through doing that. So if adults can take anything away from it, is that, you know, don't stop learning.
Never too late. Yeah, it's life skills. Totally.
And sports just have a magical way of bringing people together.
Right.
They are magic.
Individual sports or group sports or team sports.
Magic.
You know, are both capable of doing that. So I don't quite understand, and I have difficulty relating to people that don't identify with that.
Yeah, it's
you
true.
know, I can respect.
I don't
that
really know
people,
you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can respect that people have other interests, obviously, but I just think, you know, there's so many endless benefits to it that, you know, really it should be part of everyone's life.
It really should be. Yeah.
Smythe, anything you want to add on to this? I know you're like waiting to chime in on this.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to take a totally different approach to you guys.
Okay.
Remember back in the day, in ancient Rome, here's what happened, okay?
No, I don't. I wasn't there.
I was there.
Right? You go into a massive coliseum.
Athens? Are we talking Athens?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You go in a massive coliseum,
Yep.
and guys fight to the death. The guy that wins is a god.
Yep.
He is king of the castle. No one says anything about him. And they wait. Then another guy comes in. Then eventually someone kills that guy, and that guy becomes the god, and everyone worships that guy. And the guy that is the champion of the Coliseum or the chariot race or wherever they do at that time, gets all the girls, he has all the money, he has all the fun. Okay?
I don't know if that's confirmed.
That's
but...
what sports is in its essence. It is our gladiator arena. I don't care what sports you pick. A bunch of people go in there and they compete. And that competition is everything. I don't care what you say. When you go and you play sports for fun with your friend, how much you get angry. You get upset. You want to win. You want to be the best.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yep.
I played 3 hours of basketball today. I had a knee brace on my knee because I tore my ACL and I'm old, but I was crushing little kids, shouting, screaming, knocking down jump shots. That is what sports is. It's the art of camaraderie with people that you don't know a lot of the times, okay? And you are strategically trying to beat those other guys. That is it. Or other girls, or, how I'm saying. And in that in itself builds lifelong relationships, friendships, camaraderie. It teaches you how to, behave, how to be part of a system, how to be a member of the team. There's so much things that you benefit from it. But at the end of it, it's one thing. It's you guys get in the arena, right? There's nothing that feels better than you walk onto a field and there's people watching and you're about to do this thing, right? So at our level, when we do it recreationally, we watch people that do it for millions of dollars. The best people at this are multi-millionaires, and they can have whatever they want because they're the best at this thing that you can do for fun, for free, or for little money in a league. Okay? That is gladiarism at its finest.
Gladiarism.
True excellence, right? And in all of that excellence, too, right?
Yeah, right? And out of all those people that are paid millions of dollars, there's a few people that are kings of the world. Yeah. And they can do whatever they want.
Oh, for sure.
That's the guy in the gladiator arena that kills all the other guys and he's at the top. That's Sidney Crosby. That's LeBron James. That's right. If those guys, if it was a basketball fight to the death or a hockey game to the death, for instance, last night, Sidney Crosby just killed Conor McGregor in overtime.
Conor McDavid.
I want to see that, actually. Can we please have that?
Can we get that?
Yeah, we get that happen. Can they both appear?
Yeah.
Well,
Conor McGregor just punching and slipping all over the desk. Sorry, the visual's hilarious. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Fine.
That's
I think
sports is for me.
No, so we had some good takes there. We had Swellen was more of talking about the social aspect of going out and having like memories of like growing up watching sports with parents, friends, whoever, and then Meg kind of added on to that with more of like social aspect of like competing with people and making new bonds with friends, and you kind of add on to that too of like lifestyle approach to it, like learning fundamentals of life, and I think that's cool that we have 3 different takeaways from that, and I think they're all like perfect ways to gauge how we appreciate sports and how we can approach sports. And I like that there's like we had 3 different takes that were all different sort of, but like I think that's the beauty of sports, and it's why we can like create a podcast, because you have so many different opinions and views and approaches you can take to it. And that's exactly what I was looking for when I came up with that topic. Is like it's kind of like it worked out perfect how we got that.
Now, what does sports mean to you?
Yeah, Wells.
To me, well, like I mean, think about, you guys all know me, and my life kind of just revolves around sports, right? Like people will talk to me about sports. I've obviously, since I was like probably 3, I was playing t-ball, baseball, everything, right? And you're right, you guys nailed everything on the head, and everything you guys said is the same way I feel about sports as well. Like for example, myself and Meg, like I can remember like so many times we just grow up and go watch a Leaf game at a bar, right? And it brings like so many people together that like what other, like I don't know, like
watched at a movie theater. Remember that?
Yeah. Back in the day, used to show Leaf games, and people were smuggling
simpler times,
smuggling Mickeys of something in there and flasks. But for myself as well, like it does bring people together. And one example I have of that is I played baseball very competitively as a kid until I was about 16, and then I kind of just gave up on it, baseball that is, and I didn't play for 12, 13 years, and I got back into it. And when I got back into it, it was totally different than when I played for before, because before it was more like, your parents were there, and like if you mess up, people are ridiculing you and saying do better. But then the difference is when you play recreationally with friends, it's kind of like everyone's supporting you and everyone's like giving you advice and telling you to do better, or like try and give you ways to do better, and it's like a lot less pressure. But then I'd say that like when I grew up and started playing baseball again after that hiatus, I met like a lot of new people, a lot of friends, and Meg touched on that already. Like a lot of my social aspect now is like I have a new group of friends because I played baseball for a certain amount of time. And then also like a big memory for me is I actually got to play. I was lucky enough to make the All-Star team.
Ooh, I remember this.
Yeah, I had to make the All-Star team for my baseball league, which is an Ontario league, and I got to actually play at the same stadium that Joe Carter hit a game-winning home run off of, right? In the World Series. So I got to step on that field.
The World Series winning home run.
Yeah.
You're lucky hit home run.
And it took me,
and they won the game.
It took me until I was 32 years old to finally get on that field and to have my parents, my family, my closest friends come and watch me play. And sports, right? Like that's why. Why. Like people came and they cheered me on, and I played
I wasn't there, but didn't you ride a shot down like the right side of the field?
No,
I almost got to the wall. It was
I got a hold of a pitch and I split the gap, and someone made a nice running catch to it, and that was it. That was my only at bat.
Made contact.
Yeah,
Made contact.
no, I hit it well, and I mean, you know,
It was a big deal.
it was cool.
all the way to the wall, right?
I think the most important part was to have, you know, people support you and come cheer you on. And it's just like sports are huge for me, as you guys know already. Like we're doing this podcast because of sports, right? It's an escape from, you know, your daily grind. Like you work all day, and I come and I do this podcast one day a week, and you just like forget about you know, how crappy life would be sometimes, or you know, you had a bad day at work, you come and talk about sports, and you just forget. It's an escape. You forget about certain things. And so, yeah, like sports are great. My life is basically revolves around sports. Everything I do.
If I can, I know that we're, you know, this is transitioning to the next topic, but I would hate it if I didn't at least mention, how, I guess, lucky that I am being so passionate about sports that part of my job involves coaching.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm a high school teacher.
I'll just iron it all out now.
But part of, I'd say the best parts of my days often are coaching. Typically, I coach 2 to 3 teams a year, which is a lot on top of my, you know, regular job. And I'm not complaining about it at all, because again, this is often the best parts of my day. But you know, you touched on how much of a release it is from the stresses, from the anxieties of the everyday.
What
and it's
teams do you coach? How do you just not tell us that?
sorry. Well, more recently, swim team.
Nice.
Senior boys soccer the last few years. Girls hockey. Big ups to girls hockey.
What?
But in the past, I've coached volleyball, basketball, lacrosse, field hockey. Honestly,
you just go in.
If a team needs a coach, I'm there.
You're in.
Yeah. Because the last thing I want to do is see a group of kids that
can't play,
want to play a sport and can't play because they don't have somebody to supervise them. So whether I know anything about the sport or have any experience playing myself, 100% I'll be out there if I can. Because if you think back to high school, I hope that all of you got the chance to play high school sports. But for me personally, that's, you know, that occupies a majority of my memories from high school. You don't remember your classes. You
No, you don't.
Hopefully,
That's
you
all we
remember
cared
some
about.
of your teachers. Hopefully.
Nothing.
But truth be told, we all remember the sports teams we played on, the experiences we had with those people. And that's what I want to create for these kids. Like, it's so apparent how much they need these sports, how much they mean to them, whether the kid is a parent or whether the kid is aware of it or not yet.
They're not.
You know, and it's interesting, like, you know, early on, grades 9, 10, you can tell that, and Wells, you mentioned the transition from it being sort of more about the pressure that your parents put on you. You know, you want to be really good, you want to make them proud, you want to be proud of yourself. And then as the kids get older, more into senior years, you can see that they really just start to enjoy the experience. They're there because they're having fun and because they love the people that they're with, and they love the camaraderie and they love the teamwork aspect. And you can literally stand on the sideline and watch them learn these valuable life lessons that you know are the ones that are going to stick with them throughout the rest of their lives. And it's so powerful. Like it's awesome just to be part of it.
I have a quick story. So when I played high school basketball, I also played rep basketball. So there was a bunch of kids that were just advanced, and we didn't have a teacher. So our actual coach was a police officer.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Dave Russell, and I know he's listening.
Dave Russell?
Oh no.
Are you an East Ender?
No.
No? Oh, there was a Dave Russell cop that was out in Ajax.
You know what? He might be out there now, to be honest. It was 20 years ago. So,
okay, sorry.
right? Anyway, so
sorry, man.
he coached our team, and it gave us a great relationship just because we were in Peel. Peel's pretty bad for police, like harassing, stuff like that. Anyway, we play basketball on Sunday nights at the police station. So we play with a bunch of cops. If police were around or whatever, we'd be like, hi, and it built a really good relationship. And at first you didn't really appreciate it. You were just like, oh, there's cops, our coach, that's weird. But now you think about it, and you're like, oh man, like this guy was involved in the community, right? This guy was like taking a team around and talking to people, super nice to us, let us go play at his station on the weekends for free, obviously. And it was just like, it was a great thing. So as I get older now, I have like huge respect for him and what he did. That's a sacrifice, right?
That's awesome.
So he's coached that team for a long time.
So it makes you appreciate an individual more through sports, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it gave me a good relationship with like police enforcement, because a lot of black people don't have a relationship with law enforcement.
Why not?
Right.
So
it's the tell us more.
It's the truth.
Okay, we're not going down that road. So let's move on to the next topic. And I kind of touched on it a bit with my own personal experience, but we'll start with you, Smythe. What moments in like time, sports like history, have affected you most? Like what are significant? And this can go to either personal achievements, or from like watching a certain I don't know, I'll give you an example, like watching Tiger Woods just make a comeback like this year. What moments in sports do you like cherish?
Right.
Like what are your favorite moments in history?
Poor guy.
I just can't stop.
Okay, like what my question is here for this question is what moments to you in sports have affected you, or like what are your favorite moments in history of sports that have like affected you the most?
I mean, okay, so Donovan Bailey.
Good one.
Only reason
That's
why
a really good one.
We played basketball with Donovan Bailey in Oakville a lot, and he played a lot. So to see him go on the world stage and beat everybody was like, we were just like, oh my god, that's amazing! Like I know that.
That's a where were you moment, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. The Blue Jays winning the World Series. My mom was a massive Jays fan. So the first time when they beat the Braves, because like the Braves series, the second series, the Phillies whatever. And I know we had the epic home run, but the first series was because we're kids, right? So I'm a kid, I'm watching, and you see they go to land, you see the chop, and it's like this huge thing, and this crazy chant. You're like, how do we beat these guys? They're a juggernaut. They got like whatever, and then to see us overcome that, and my mom was like over the moon. I've never seen a person so happy that they're not involved in it all. Like it was our Jays. It was the first time I never understood the concept of like, this is my team,
right?
And she showed me what my team was, right? And then my favorite moment ever, it's a personal moment, obviously. We're at a tournament, and there's like a scout there, and the scout was from Niagara, and he didn't come to see me, and I was upset he didn't come to see me. But in this game, we win this championship, and they had this guy. This guy went D1. He was incredible, and he killed. But we won the game, and we won the game because I scored 34 points.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
And the final basket was, I come up on the right side, and I go to my left, and I go to drive, and the guy who's getting a scholarship is guarding me. He's also 6'6". He's very tall. I cross him over.
You say also like you're 6'6", which is not the case.
No, he's 6'6". I said.
You said also as in like.
He's also. No, I'm saying also. By the way, this guy's like NBA height. Anyway, cross him over. He's lost over there. I pull up for this 3-point shot. An actual buzzer goes off. The ball goes swish through the net. Everyone goes crazy, and then that guy gets a scholarship. But the point is that was me. I did that. I won that game. I was the hero for that 1 second.
Yeah.
And other stuff, like I've hit game-winning shots, and it wasn't the same. I was like, no one cares about this. There's no one watching being like, hey, good shot, man. Like, That was like my number one sports moment.
Question for you: do you, just also going back to your Coliseum references? Do you like sports as much when you are not the best?
On the losing side?
Now I don't mind being the best. If I do my best and I lose, it's just as fun. Do you know what I mean? If I go out there and I don't play my hardest and we get crushed, sucks. But if I go out there and I play and I lose to a better team, that's as good as winning, because at least you gave everything you can. You don't have to win them all. You're not going to win them all. Right?
And I think that's what's awesome with sports being such a big life lessons is not just the competitive nature, but that learning of what sportsmanship truly is and using that as how to conduct your day-to-day life, right? Which I think is important.
And also just being willing to accept failure. Like, you're not always going to win. And what are you going to do? How are you going to deal with losing?
How do you handle it?
Right?
Going
How
forward.
do you handle it? What's your attitude? Right?
So
that's huge. Yeah.
So we'll go to you next, Meg. Do you have any particular moments in time or in history, whether you were a part of it or stuff that...
And the rules are you can't use mine.
Okay.
Like what sports?
We should have exchanged notes
what
to make sure we didn't have the same moments, Megan.
What moments do you
We might do.
resonate with you?
Megan and I spent a lot of time together.
I didn't. Yeah, we spent a lot of time together.
It's okay.
I didn't go. Well, I wasn't even thinking the more personal.
That's fine.
Route, because, and of course I have those moments. But anyway, I think top of my list for I don't know, patriotic value, sentimental value was the 2010 Sidney Crosby gold medal.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just such a big moment.
Another where were you moment.
Yeah.
Another where were you moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just huge, felt across the country. You know, they did it on home soil, which, you know, only made it better. And, you know, we're still talking about it almost 9 years later. So,
well,
you know.
I think like, so when you have those where were you moments, is like a lot of people talk about like the Canada Cup game against Russia with like Henderson scoring the goal, and like you always hear that, but like for us, our generation, we were not a part of that, right? And like you hear from your parents and stuff, and it's not the same. But like then you have what happened with, you know, Crosby scoring that overtime goal against USA of all teams. I think that's like kind of our generation, like where were you moment.
That's our greatest goal we've seen so far.
Yeah,
lives.
and I think
and we can say that.
I think that's a great moment too.
It
And
wasn't even a good goal, was it?
No, it
doesn't
just
matter.
it doesn't. It got in, but it was
no. The whole point of what Meg was saying is like it was the whole country was watching.
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
The whole
It
country.
just-
It was
like
the-
I can tell you, my whole day that day.
Yep.
Of like when I woke up, where I went, how long I waited in line to get into a certain place, and
What you did after.
exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like I'm not gonna hijack your moment
You're
here,
doing
Meg,
it.
but I'm going to because that was
Fine.
obviously.
It's a moment that we share.
Yeah.
I think that's
Is
what
it
makes
so-
it so.
Is it the biggest hockey goal scored in your lifetime?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us could. The Canada Russia was before us anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's what I mean.
It
That's
is
what I mean.
our generation,
exactly.
for sure.
And like, so I was actually lucky enough to be in Vancouver for that. I made a point of it way like months in advance to go visit a couple of friends. Corey and Sean lived out in Vancouver at that time.
Your house, like I watched it.
And I remember because we're on the West Coast, so it started earlier for us. Obviously, like we woke up at like 8 a.m. to go find a bar at like 9:40, 9 o'clock in the morning for the game. I think it was at like 12, and we ended up on like a bar, but like bars were just like they knew what was going to happen, so they just like streets were closed, and they just added tents on the streets and TVs in these tents. And yeah, it was like I think that is the perfect example of like where were you moments. And I just remember like that goal being scored and hugging random people, and for the next 2 hours walking down the streets of Vancouver, hugging random people, making out with random people. Like it was absolutely
bonkers.
I was fortunate enough to have a Sidney Crosby Canada jersey on at that point.
That would do it.
And because I got that jersey for Christmas from someone, and I wore it like every day in Vancouver, and it was just like a surreal moment. Like I think that might be the greatest moment of like for fandom to watch that moment happen. Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't mean to hijack your moment here.
No.
Like, Can you just continue?
No,
No,
do you have any other ones? Do you have anything else?
I'm glad that he agrees.
You're not wrong,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what he's
yeah.
saying.
Where were you when you watched it?
I was at Shoeless Joe's on Queens Quay.
Yep. Okay.
That was just a bar that I could get into.
Exactly. I think a lot of us have that same.
Yeah. And I made a mess for them to clean up because I remember, the moment the goal happened, I was sitting at the bar and I reached over and grabbed whatever I could, which happened to be a stack of napkins, and I just tossed them everywhere. And in retrospect, maybe that wasn't the most respectful thing to do, but
Sort of like you have to leave right now. I'm not going anywhere.
They definitely didn't tell me to leave. I was paying good money for my beers, and anyway, another one more recently, which I guess is why it's still ingrained in my brain, but and actually 75% of us in this room were at this event, was the MLS Cup Championship just not even a year ago.
Okay.
And I mentioned this to somebody, and they said how hungry we are as Toronto sports fans for anything good to happen, that we celebrate, an MLS Cup. But, it goes down in history. It was the first one ever, and that was a big moment for the city. We were, we are hungry for good things to happen, and it's been a long time since our city has done anything.
MLS is a decent league. There's not Premier League soccer. Don't get me wrong.
No, and we always like value the four major sports before we value Argos or MLS.
Yeah.
Well, the Argos.
But anything that happened to the city, we rally behind, and it's not just TFC or Argos, but also like the Wolfpack and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the city will get behind anything.
Next year, viewership wise, the MLS is going to pass the NHL, so it's not that minor anymore, is it?
Yeah.
That was a big win. And
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge.
Yeah, right?
Like and I remember living in that area.
I used to live in that.
Not jokingly, but we're like, yeah, we'll just go to a bar 2 hours before the game. We'll probably get in. That was a huge mistake.
No.
We love RFC.
Yeah. So, those are two big moments. But then also, I think it's funny because if I'm put on the spot to think about memorable moments, having trouble. But I think it's funny just how much sports moments, whether they are actually big or whether they're just
big to you.
Yeah. Sure.
But as an example, Wellesley over here made a reservation at Real Sports a couple years ago for the NHL draft lottery.
Oh yes, I remember this. Yes,
and normally that's not a sports event at all. It's just something
it was for
you
your
sort
birthday.
of keep your eye on and tune into.
Watch the ticker.
Exactly, watch the ticker. But no, this was an event that we got a table for. And it turned out exactly the way we wanted, which was that we got first pick, so we knew we were getting Matthews and. There was confetti.
Oh, totally.
It was
my
a
gosh.
huge party at Real Sports.
And weren't we celebrating your birthday too?
It
was supposed to be your birthday.
Which totally
that's not the
that's
point.
not part of, it's not part of the memory. Truthfully, I don't even know if it was. I remember just why we were there and what we were celebrating. And again, sort of just a demonstration of how sports brings people together.
Totally.
We were excited for what was possibly to come. Good things weren't even happening yet. This was just the start of it. Now it's been a couple years since then, and obviously things are on the right track.
All right.
But
I remember that because I was kind of anti-hockey for a little bit at that point, and then the social media people at Real Sports came up to me and wanted to interview me, and I was like, oh, no. You don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to her.
I don't know who's
and
on
it's
the
her
team.
birthday, so here you go. And you did the little Instagram post.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, somewhat related to that, I think it was a huge moment when we drafted Tavares.
You mean signed him?
Signed him. Sorry.
When we won the off season this year.
Yes,
I think
we did win the
offseason.
I was talking about this
right.
with some people today actually at work, and we were going through we thought we were going to Steven Stamkos, and it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And we thought maybe we get Drew Doughty, it didn't happen. So we kind of shelved our hopes. Yeah, our expectations and hopes. We're oh yeah, I mean obviously we're in the mix for Tavares. I doubt it's going to happen. And then, we kind of went on Canada Day, and like we're like, let's just enjoy Canada Day. And then next thing you know, we hear that we got Tavares, and like, yeah, that's another moment too. Like,
now here's when we got Tavares, I was like, yeah, if you think of all the players, the most likely player for us to land was Tavares.
I don't know, man. I thought Stamkos was a sure thing.
Yeah.
I really did.
I agree.
I really thought he was a sure thing because he's from the area.
Yeah.
And like they were like rolling out Canadian Tire, like was like, we'll make you a
Everyone
lifetime.
was getting ready to sponsor.
Lifetime sponsorship.
But
So when they didn't, I didn't want to get my hopes up with Tavares too, right?
Exactly.
So
Florida.
So I think the Tavares thing was obviously we're thankful for it, but
Tavares
we were kind of like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Tavares
and then when it
is
happened,
like-
we were like, oh,
Tavares is in a crappy place. He's in New York. The weather's not nice.
what's wrong with New York, man?
Stamkos is in
The
Florida.
weather is not nice because in Toronto it's so
not
much
much
better.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the weather in
No,
Florida
no.
is much better than Toronto.
You're talking
so
to hockey
Stamkos
players.
Is like, don't care.
It doesn't matter. You're talking about hockey players.
How many
They
players?
play
How
indoors.
many players leave when they go to the West Coast or they go to Florida?
They go there because
They
of
never-
no state taxes,
they never
and
leave.
they're under the radar.
Exactly.
it was under the radar thing, right?
Like people who
Yeah,
like
a lot of
re-sign
people
in,
like
in
that.
Florida and like Dallas is because like there's like a third of the amount of
They
media
want to go
that,
to the shopping mall.
Well, that's it. They can go have dinner. I think
Exactly.
Luongo said it best, right? When he can literally go for dinner and nobody would
Yeah.
talk
Yeah,
to him,
it's
and they
perfect.
actually really
But
want
then
that sometimes.
on the flip side, if you do sign in like a major market and you do well, is instead of going to those restaurants and not being noticed, you were getting noticed and you're not paying for a meal ever.
yeah.
So
Tavares will
let's
never
flip that.
pay for a beer in this city.
But then they have so much money, they can really afford to pay for every
That's
meal.
why
This
they're
is the
rich.
thing.
Yeah,
was that?
I
You
know.
don't
take me
but
out for a
still,
meal.
like,
The Saturday metric song, "I'm so rich, everything's free." Have you heard
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
That's so true.
It's so true. Yeah, yeah.
let's just Seb. I'm
Yeah.
sure you have a moment. I can already tell. I think I know which one it is.
left it for
And I'm
her.
actually surprised we haven't gone on
We
it
haven't-
yet.
yeah, we're
but-
gearing
See
up
that?
for
I
it.
pointed
Go
to
ahead.
it.
Yeah, we're gearing up
Said
for it.
you
So
take
obviously baseball. Baseball's my number one. I was a little too young to really fully appreciate 92, 93.
Yeah, you're the
World
youngin'
Series.
here.
I am the youngin'. I remember it, but I really wasn't understanding it. So 2015.
It's different when you're older and you can drink and enjoy.
Oh, yes.
Everything
Yes,
better.
yes. So 2015, 2016 was definitely my playoff run. So ALDS Game 5, Jose Bautista bat flip.
And I'm surprised we
Absolutely.
haven't already gone on this yet.
Yeah.
But
And I know everybody talks about it, but I was there, and I've never felt that energy, and I never knew that a concrete structure could move as much as it did. And you almost kind of like, I remembered it, but I also feel like I blacked out for like a solid
was
3
just
minutes
crazy.
because I just never been a part of that. So in terms of significance and a moment, there's nothing else that will kind of
Yep.
get to that point. And the running joke is that the Jose Bautista bat flip was the best day of my life, and I actually got married 4 days prior. Spoiler alert, not married anymore. So,
go everybody.
but honestly, like, so yes, I do really love sports, right? But no, it just, the whole thing, the build up, I mean, it's been talked about over and over, but absolutely haven't been a part of that environment ever before. But to kind of take in another personal note in terms of significance, one memory that really, really sticks out in my mind is the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games. Yeah. But it's when Clara Hughes won her bronze medal in cycling.
Oh.
Yes. And I remember watching, and I didn't know who this girl was, right? So she was, I think, 20, her first Olympics. And I was watching the whole event. And the only Canadian was this curly-haired girl who was riding her bicycle. And I'm 8 years old. I had really, really curly hair, and I would ride my bicycle all around the neighborhood. So I saw her. I'm like, she has curly hair. I have curly hair. She rides her bike. I like to ride my bike, right? And she smiles. I like to smile too. And I was just immediately drawn to her. And when she won, and I remember them saying that she was the first Canadian female to win a cycling Olympic medal at all. And I turned to my dad and I was like, I want to do that. And he looked me dead in the face and said, you can. And I was like, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
So
Sold, right?
Game
So,
And did you?
with that, I did not. I did not.
I've never seen Seb ride a bike.
Yeah. I'm really good at spin class, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spinning,
spin
sure.
class is really good. Yeah. But no, that just kind of stuck with me. And I think it was really important, too, for even, we talk about why sports is significant, but even just a female.
Sure.
And looking at really strong female sport athletes.
Ooh, I like this.
And what Clara Hughes has done for just Canadian athleticism. Not summer Olympics, Winter Olympics, and just a pioneer for that, for mental health issues, for
we didn't know that until
student
later.
rights, for indigenous rights, for everything that she's done. She's a Class A human, and I just remember being in love with her when I was a young kid.
You said Class A, not Class A.
Class A, yeah.
I'm shocked that you left off anything to do with figure skating.
Sorry, that was my cell phone.
Figure skating,
Sorry,
dancing, but that's fine.
Well,
that's okay. That's not really a sport,
I mean,
right?
that's the thing. It's no, hey. No,
Shoot.
Pow,
so,
ping, pow.
so I mean, I will admit that team sports I, sort of enjoyed later in life. I was more of an individual, an athlete, if you want to call that. But I was a figure skater and a dancer growing up, and I think my first team sport was senior girls rugby at high school, and we sucked, but it was great.
It's pretty intense for sport.
Oh yeah, no.
First thing to play.
Yeah,
it's like tackle football for girls. I don't understand why girls don't play football. It drives me bonkers that girls don't play. Rugby is way more violent. And it's way more consistent. Football, you stop every 5 seconds. It just makes
Rugby
me more
is great.
It's safer to play football than to play rugby.
Yeah.
But girls never get hurt playing rugby. I'm sure you've seen it.
That's a lie.
I watched all
I don't know
through
about that
high
one,
school.
man.
I saw girls brawling, and I was like, this sport is savage.
Oh yeah,
They all came out with a couple bruises. Happy as
they're not playing it right. They're
Probably
not playing it right.
No,
Yeah, right, they're not good.
I also
Not
think that
playing
just
right,
kids in general have gotten a little more delicate over the years.
I'm amazed.
No,
The whole population has got more delicate
that's
over
the
years.
thing. Yeah, we were the first girls team to play rugby, and I think most of us that joined, it was a few months before prom. We're like, we can get really in shape for prom, not realizing that we
is
literally could get our
brilliant.
eyes gouged out.
Yes, that's
and
also a
have broken
possibility.
faces. Thankfully, none of us did. Like we just, kind of, cuts here and there and makeup. But by the time prom came around, we were fine. But yeah, no. I mean, if I want to put in Scott Moyer and Tessa Virtue, absolutely.
Okay,
Roxanne,
all right. Heck yes.
Yes. Did I watch that 35 times in a row? Did I PVR it? Is it still on my PVR? Yes.
Yeah, that's good. I had. That's funny you mentioned, like, do I still have that on my PVR? I still have the fight between Canada and Mexico in the World Baseball Classic from 2013.
Oh, Crazy
That
Eyes.
is still
Crazy Eyes.
that is still on my PVR
Yes.
from 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
But you were talking
Was
about
it Romo?
Sergio Romo,
Romo
yeah,
had
yeah,
Crazy
yeah,
Eyes,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
You were talking about Claire Hughes and how significant and how much influential it was to you as an individual athlete. So my next topic, and I'll start with you, Meg, is what athletes do you love?
Yes.
Which athletes do you love? Which athletes do you hate? Who are on the top and the bottom of your athlete radar? Like what? Do you have any?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's funny. I think I have more that I hate than
That's fine.
than I
It
should
love.
be.
That's fine.
And not even many that I really want to get into, but I'll just throw their names out
No, go
there.
ahead.
Just throw the names out.
Manny Machado.
Boo. Everyone's obsessed.
I should specify he's on my hate list.
Boo.
Okay.
Is that you would
What
Can
would
you-
Manny Machado do?
Can you elaborate on why you hate
just
him?
don't
or-
like his face.
Nope.
I really he makes me mad.
Yep.
I just
He's the worst.
I don't
I
just
look at
don't
him
like
and I'm
him.
like,
And it's people's
I
obsession
really
with
don't
Manny
like him.
Machado. Everyone talks about he's the second coming of Jesus.
Yeah.
But
don't know
no,
about that.
calm
Well,
down.
I mean, here's the thing about Manny Machado. He got traded, and the team he got traded to is in the World Series. He's a winner.
He's not a winner. He's not a winner. That's the definition of not a winner because he couldn't win with Baltimore.
Yeah, but that team sucked.
And then, I agree, but he had a window where they could have won. I'm not saying baseball's different. You can't manipulate a team to win or lose because of yourself. But I think what Mag's alluding to is he's just a dirty guy.
He's a dirty guy.
And there was a play in the NLCS where he was going to first and he blatantly tripped the first baseman. And I think that might be something that you're referring to.
Who did he slide? Justin Pedroia? Pedroia's never been
Earlier
the
this
same
year, yeah.
since he
Yeah.
Ooh,
spiked
is he
him.
on your list too? Because he's on mine.
Okay,
I'll
Meg,
leave
keep
him for
going,
yours.
keep going.
Another one sort of along the same lines, Chris Davis.
Boo. They're all Orioles.
Yeah.
Baseball player?
Yeah, but
Trash birds. The
Well,
trash
actually,
birds.
there
yeah.
is a Chris Davis who plays for Oakland as
Sorry.
well. Which one are you talking about?
CHRIS,
I'm talking
not
Baltic.
KR.
Okay, wow, jeez, Chris Davis. I always kind of like Chris Davis.
Because the wad in his cheek constantly is.
Yeah. Can't go without mentioning NHL.
No, go ahead.
Was really happy the day that we got rid of Dion.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
I had enough of enough. And I don't really think I need to explain it.
That's
You
fair.
guys understand, he might be a talented player. They say that, the announcers say that, but what I see is different. And, I just, anyway.
I feel like there was just too much pressure for him.
I agree.
came
I agree
in.
with you on that.
They
I
gave him
feel
the
like
C,
I feel like on such a bad team, they kind of like gave him all the expectations of being like the savior.
Yeah.
But he had a bad team, but he did not help his cause anymore of
No.
his
Well,
his
what-
own
what
play,
can he
right?
do, though?
I think as an under the radar like valuable like commodity to your team without any expectations or any like
Where's he playing right now?
LA.
And he loves it there.
And that's fine. That's
There you
the perfect place for him right now is LA because there's no one gives a crap about you playing hockey in LA because you got LeBron there now. You got the Dodgers in the World Series.
You're literally the bottom of
You
the
got two. You got two
area.
playoff teams in football: the Chargers and the Rams. He's loving life out there, and I think that's what he deserves right now. He's not a terrible player, but to lead like one of the most prestigious
He's not number one defense.
prestigious teams in hockey, and to do what he did, for sure.
Yeah.
I understand.
I don't wish anything bad upon him. I'm happy that he's happy now.
But-
popular mechanics for kids.
Yes, he did win off the ice
I'm
still winning.
I
because
hope that
at
him
one
and
point
Alicia
Alicia
are
Cuthbert
happy.
was a prized possession,
You're right.
and he snatched that up.
You're right.
Like a champ.
Yeah,
I'm just happy that he's no longer in Toronto.
fair enough.
So if you will allow me, I want to mention maybe two other people that are on my hate list because I said
There's a
that
lot
it's
of hate
longer.
here.
There's-
Wow.
And then
Yeah,
but I'm going to mention one that I love at the end.
One.
Okay, I'm going to switch things up
You
on you.
okay? You're okay.
We'll
All
end
right,
on a
so
positive note.
one who's a little more in the spotlight as of lately, Conor McGregor.
Okay.
I don't hate him. I understand why he is who he is, why he does what he does. I get it. He's making a ton of money. He's doing wonderful things for
Himself.
And his family.
Yeah,
And Ireland.
And right, there's a lot to say about it. I just, that cocky, arrogant attitude is
Sure.
one just in general in life that I don't like on anybody. I don't think it suits anybody, and it makes me just have the biggest urge to punch them in the face.
Someone else did that for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it just
Done.
makes me so happy to see him lose.
Okay.
So anyway, another one which, I hope that nobody will disagree with me, but Lance Armstrong.
Boo.
He goes against everything that sports is supposed to be.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
There's no but.
there is
There's no but.
He
No but.
cheated.
he made a lot of money for cancer research.
Oh, okay,
Fine.
We're really stretching there.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like there's lots of people who
Really
make
was-
lots of money for cancer research,
but
and
he did it through sport.
I'll take
Well-
his money, but then he can walk out the door.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there's not really much more that needs to be said about
He
that.
did it with an asterisk.
There is no
beside him.
place for
Now,
what he did in sports.
What I'd like to say is that it's very unprecedented that you win the Tour de France every year. No one else has won it twice. Then this guy wins it how many times in a row? Clearly he's cheating.
Well, okay. I
Like,
wasn't
how
sure
do
where
we
you were
not
going
look
with
at
that.
this before? Like,
But I think that's why it
clearly.
hurt people so much because it was like, oh my gosh, an athlete of this caliber actually exists and that can do the hardest thing that you could possibly do in sports over and over. You didn't want to believe that he did,
This
right?
This is like
and then when he did, you're like, come on.
This
When he
is-
did,
this
I was
is-
like, well, yeah, what did you think he was doing?
This sort of thing of cheating in sports is there's also like a little fine line too, because you kind of go, okay, well, like we're seeing something we've never seen before. An athlete just, do the unthinkable, right? And I think my greatest comparison to that is watching Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa go for the home run lead in 98, 99.
We also knew they were cheating.
I know, but did we enjoy it while it happened?
Yes, it was great TV.
So it's like
But here's the thing.
when we look back on it, we're like, I shouldn't have cheered for that, right? Like,
No, here's my thing.
but like when it
you
happened,
didn't
we
know.
were all into it.
For baseball, even if you are on something that extends your muscles, there's hand-eye coordination, there's concentration, there's intelligence involved. Riding a bicycle is 100% about your muscles, how they work, and your endurance. So if you're cheating to get more endurance and better muscles, it's basically the entire concept of the sport. Everyone can ride their bicycle, right? It's how strong you are, how big your muscles are, how long can you go. He took drugs that basically only improve that. In baseball, you have bigger muscles, you can longer endurance. You go up to bat 3 times a game, you run 4 times for plays the most, right? It's all about your hand-eye coordination. You gotta know what's coming.
Yeah,
how to
but
hit
like
it.
if you,
I know
Saying
cheating's
baseball players
cheating.
cheated less.
I think
they cheated more. They
concept
actually
is, like,
cheated more.
the concept is
statistically.
in baseball, cheating doesn't really get you as far, right? And those
That's not
guys,
true at all. Look
No.
at Barry Bonds.
well, how many
Yeah.
other guys got caught that weren't superstars, right? For cheating. Barry Bonds is one guy. McGuire, Sosa, Clemens. I mean, Clemens is 41 years old, throwing the ball 95. Like that, he's cheating, bro.
I worry that just cheating in baseball kind of is a little bit. It has less of an effect because there was this overarching bunch that everybody's doing it, right? You couldn't
Yeah.
just single-handedly
Exactly.
point out one person. Everyone was doing it.
Everyone
So
was doing it. It's just certain players were good at what they did, and they just like.
Did it more?
Well, no, is they
We don't know how much they took. One guy could just take.
no.
extra.
It's a great point that Seb made. Is that
it doesn't make it better by just saying it.
no, it doesn't make it better, but like
People dismiss it more.
a lot of people cheated in that time span.
Yeah.
It's just those guys did it really well, and obviously they're under the microscope more than they should have been, right? So
It's okay. You can pour drinks
Sorry,
on
sorry.
the show. It's fine.
Wine break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
there's
these
no
guys are pouring drinks. They're trying to figure out what they're going to drink. It's fine.
But I don't know. All I'm saying is what Lance Armstrong did was much worse because like the entire sport is based on your endurance and your strength.
I think everyone just felt so
Betrayed.
Everyone felt
Betrayed.
cheated.
Totally
sure, for
betrayed.
sure.
yeah, and it
No
was
one.
just
It's like no one wants to know that you cheered for a cheater, right? Like,
Yeah. Well,
well, we did it unknowingly, but the fact that he did it and maintained it for so long and lied, even when he was
Sure.
being called out for it.
well,
he
you got to
lied.
ride that.
at the
You
end,
have
you
to
lie,
ride that.
deny. That's
Yeah.
how it works until
But
it's
I
like
mean,
you did
I
it.
don't
So-
know. Just morally, how do you
For
live
sure.
with
No,
that?
totally.
Like, it's
I agree.
just, you know, and anyway. Okay, on a higher note, an athlete that I love and that I think has done wonderful things for the sport and for women in particular, which is important to me, obviously, Christine Sinclair.
Nice. Good one.
Yeah, growing up
I
playing.
can't believe she's still playing right now.
I honestly,
awesome.
She
She's
is
amazing.
just a beast. She's I can't say enough about her.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, since we're all dropping the rep sports that we played, growing up playing rep soccer.
Hey-o.
Respect.
you
Scouts
know,
are listening.
I can just always remember looking up to her and thinking like, wow, you know, that's what we can strive for. And she just does it in, I don't know, such a, you know, she's the opposite of the cocky, arrogant
Sure.
athlete. She is so poised and just such a wonderful example for young girls, you know, playing any sport, doing anything really.
Not only young girls, but she is openly gay, right? Like, she is also...
She is?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, guys. But, like, also, like, for, you know, like, people...
LGBTQ
Yeah,
community,
like,
absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
to be successful, like, you have a beacon. Like, a...
She's one of my favorite strikers in the world.
She's-
Male, female, who cares?
She's
male,
just
female, straight,
phenomenal.
gay, whatever.
She was like-
It doesn't matter.
She was very like calculated, and if you needed 3 goals, she'll give you 3 goals.
oh, she left everything out there.
yeah, she was. I
And
say
still
was,
does.
No,
Yeah.
I say was because she's not that girl anymore. Let's be honest.
No, she still is. She
She's not
scored 2
playing the
goals the
whole
other
game.
day in, like,
I
some
know, but,
thing I
like-
don't care about, but she still did it. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
it's
she's
true.
about to become the top scorer in women's soccer.
She's gonna be
ever.
yeah, not
She's
just
going to be
Canada.
Abby
ever.
Waback has the
Waback.
lead, right?
She is
yeah.
about to take
yeah,
her
she's going to take
over.
it. Good for her.
You know,
Go,
so
Christine.
she will hold that title, which I just think is super important for so many reasons.
For sure.
And she's just, I just think I can't say enough wonderful things about her. Like, honestly, she's phenomenal. She represents
she's great.
everything that
Yeah.
is
is
good.
good
Yeah.
in sport, and I think she's just an excellent role model to have. And you know, I'm proud that she's Canadian, and
One would say she's classe.
Class.
Classe.
I got really upset that coach left the female team went to coach the male
John
team.
Herder?
Yeah,
Was John Herder?
I just didn't understand it. I didn't like the move.
Yeah.
I felt like he had stuff to accomplish because like they're on their way. I don't know if they're ever gonna win a gold medal at Olympics, whatever. But I
Not if
feel
the
like
refs have anything to do with it.
I feel like he should have wrote it out because like going to coach the men's team where it's a hopeless cause. What is he gonna do?
Not anymore.
Is his greatest achievement getting them to the Olympics?
Because
they're gonna get there
them?
next year.
Did you
48
see them
teams are
stomp
going now.
Dominica?
Poor Dominica.
we are now actually like Canada's soccer team is actually like could be a legit team. Like they could be decent.
Are you saying that the next World Cup they have a chance to win?
The next World Cup is in Qatar.
Yeah. Are they going to go?
And they have a chance to qualify. I think they actually have a viable chance to
Yeah,
qualify.
they
the
maybe
teams
perhaps
they're playing.
might make it to the World Cup.
They might
Ridiculous.
for the second time.
Now the women's team, he has a chance to win the World Cup, and he'd rather go and hope for maybe qualify for the men's team.
Yeah, but
I don't like
what's
the
more
prestigious job.
Yeah.
I think winning for the women would be more prestigious than qualifying with the men because the men are never going to win. Let's be honest. Until we're
Win
dead,
what?
The World Cup.
No,
Until we're dead, Canada's
like,
not going to win a World Cup.
If Canada, like the men's soccer team, were to make the World Cup,
Make the round of 16.
that is
crowning achievement.
No, not even round of 16, just to be
just to make
in
it
it.
to the final.
And now it's like 48 teams, right?
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
like
So it's
it's
easier to
different.
do. I
But
don't
like
know.
whatever.
I don't
And
know.
I was surprised by it too because I remember during the Olympics, like he was so behind those girls. Like I thought he would never leave
Yeah.
that team, and he believed in it more than anybody else did, even themselves. So maybe there's got to have been something else that was
Money.
going on. Money,
Prestige.
money. Yeah.
Wait, you get paid more to coach men?
What? There's a pay disparity between male and female sports.
Oh, that's a whole
Also,
other
like-
podcast.
What?
The men were saying that he's not as qualified because he coached women before. Guys that are losing, we're saying that this guy's not qualified.
Yeah.
The guy that's won the bronze of the women is not qualified to coach them. Anyway, whatever. Let's.
Anyway.
That's
Seb,
for part 2. Yes,
give
sir.
me a list of athletes you hate, you love to hate, you hate to love.
Okay.
Let's go.
So love Toronto Blue Jays, Johnny Mac. Love.
Oh, John McDonald.
John
Shout out to John
McDonald.
McDonald.
Shout out.
Because he's cute.
Oh, because he just warms my heart.
Who is he?
Oh,
Come on, man.
seriously?
I'm totally going there. Who is this guy?
Seriously.
Who's this John McDonald?
John McDonald was like a
The best
career-
utility man
Was.
that you could ever hope for. Heart of gold.
Wait, he didn't start?
Well, no, I mean, he was a
Utility
utility
You don't
guy.
know who John McDonald is?
I literally don't know who this
Seriously,
guy
and
is.
his Father's Day home run, like
Yes.
5 days
Father's
after
Day.
his father passed
well,
away.
His,
Shit,
yes,
I
his
remember that.
his father died, and then he
Seriously.
eventually
Hit a home run.
a couple days later.
That
on Father's
is
Day.
Cheers.
that is a fantastic.
And this is a utility player
One
who
home
does
run.
not hit very many home
doesn't
runs.
play,
But he
very much.
captured the heart of a nation. Did.
Well,
Well, apparently, except for one.
Fine.
Everyone but
fine.
one.
He makes the list.
yes,
on
he makes
the
the list.
technicality of hitting a
Yes.
home run.
I like that though. I like going out.
Yeah, Johnny
outside
Mac.
the house.
I love my Olympians. Obviously, talk about Claire Hughes, Scott and Tessa. I love Adam Van Couverden, Sally and Pelletier for going even like old school.
No mention
Skating.
of Patrick Kwan?
What's that? No, Patrick. It's whatever. I'm
Chan?
not Patrick Chan. It's okay.
my
She's
gosh.
thinking about Kwan. She was like Patrick Kwan.
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, get it out of your head.
No, I do have a soft spot for just Olympians, just because I feel like we don't support them enough, and their time to shine is just so kind of limited compared
Every
to most
4
of the time. Every
years?
4 years, right? But
Yeah,
I do have a
fair
soft
enough.
spot for them. But more recently, in terms of loving, I am absolutely obsessed with Patrick Mahomes. Like
Wow.
I'm full on behind him. He's awesome. He's a stud. He's a beast. I love him. I
Hype
love.
train. That's what hype train does to you.
Yeah, no, but you know
But
what?
it's a legit hype train.
It's
It is-
legit.
well, it's hype train.
And I had this conversation a few days ago where I'm just really sick of these frat boy quarterbacks who have had
Like Chad Kelly,
everything
who just got cut
handed
by
to
the
them.
Broncos. Yeah, fair enough.
Right, on a silver platter. And I realized that Mahomes, obviously his father was a baseball pitcher, and maybe he had a little bit of an easier time than others, but he was a multi-sport athlete, and just this young kid to come in and play like he does, I'm absolutely just
He has
loving
no
it.
respect for the NFL.
Right?
Smitten.
What?
He has no respect for the NFL.
It's fine.
What do you mean by that?
Mahomes is like, I'm better than everybody here. He's
That's
like,
fine, 'cause he
He
is.
walks in the arena and he's
He
like,
is.
I'm better than you. I'm better than you.
That's
I'm better
okay.
than
You know what? The NFL right now has their own set of
I
problems,
bet you
so
the
that's
huddle
fine.
comes
He
in
can
and
say,
Mahomes is like, hey guys, yeah, We're going to be okay. Do you know why? Why? Because I get the ball first. All right, huddle up.
Yeah.
And he goes up there, throws for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, wins the game. It's like, told you guys.
Right?
And he walks away.
But he can
Sounds
back
like
it up, and
someone
I'm
I
okay
hate.
with that, right? But you know what? Like, right now, it's fun, and I'm all about Kansas City C's, right? Because we're not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm glad you've
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
you-
I don't
quick
call
learner.
them it
Learn
either.
very quickly.
No, I don't. I just call them
There-
Kansas City. Yeah.
There are
it has
many
to be.
other teams that you have to.
Many,
okay.
many, but that's just
Good-
one.
good
but,
for you.
Yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes is definitely like he's my homes, right?
He's my homies. He's
yeah.
my homes.
But then also on the flip side of like kind of recently of frat boy quarterbacks, I was watching the Chargers Titans game that was in London on the weekend, and I was just recently introduced to Phillip Rivers. I'm not going to lie. Never seen him before in my life. Want to punch him in the face.
What?
Want to punch him in the
Hey,
face. Yep.
I can
Yeah.
relate.
No, just I remember at the very last, so it was the final drive when I think the Titans were about to tie it up. They were going for the 2-point conversion.
Right, to win the game, yeah.
And then it didn't happen, and Rivers is off there cheering, and he's like pointing to himself. I'm like, you were just on the sidelines for the past 5 minutes and making it all about you. And I'm actually convinced, because I did a little bit of research too, right? So because when I hate somebody, I
You really? You
I go in.
You go
I
all the way in.
So I know that they're like, he's a family man. He's got 9 kids. La 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 la.
9.
I'm convinced he has
Poor wife.
his poor wife that she is part of a cult because she actually converted to Catholicism for him. She does. I feel like no woman really wants 9 kids.
Yeah, but
Man.
No one wants like 3 kids, let alone 9 kids.
So I'm just not.
You're not sold
I'm
on
not
him.
sold on him. So, but that's kind of my recent rationale of love and hate. But my longest hate on any player, I'm going back to
Here we go.
baseball,
Oh wow, here we go.
is Andy Pettitte,
Ooh,
that's a good hate.
New York Yankee pitcher
that's worth
Andy
it.
Pettitte.
That's worth it.
why?
I looked at his face as a young child
Decided.
and said,
disgust.
"He's
Poor
mean.
bum chim.
He's mean.
Oh,
I
he's got
do
a
not
face
like him."
ass.
He does
Yes.
have the biggest
Hey.
face ass.
That's hateable.
And that's what resonated with me is he's not a good person. And he's not. And I have
He is not.
he's not a good person. So most people will call it irrational. I say it's completely rational, but that is my longest standing hatred of any professional athlete is Andy
I feel
Pettitte.
like that's okay.
Smythe,
Yep.
run through your list of love and hate.
Let's see.
Break it down.
I have some loves. First love, Carmelo Anthony. Just the way he played basketball when he first came in the league, that was how I wanted to
Did
play
you like him when he
basketball.
was
I liked
in
him.
Syracuse?
I liked him in Syracuse. I have a jersey in Syracuse. I have a jersey on the Nuggets. I have a jersey on the Knicks. I do not have an OKC jersey. I will not get a Houston jersey.
I was gonna say
You draw the line.
because he stinks with Houston.
I followed his career and I supported him for a long time. I just got behind the guy. When it came time to take the money or go win, he took the money for his family, and I totally respect someone that has a job and does his job to get the most pay. So that's where my loyalties would lie as well, and I respect the fact that he did that. He'll never win a championship. He won't even probably make the Hall of Fame, but he took all the dollars when they were there, and you gotta love that. So Melo, love that guy. Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller. Yes.
My basketball number is based on Reggie Miller's
Nice.
basketball number 31. He was just like,
so is that love or hate?
if you, love. I really like the guy that played the villain role. I like guys that understand the concept of what sports are. You cheer for your home team when the bad guy comes into town. You don't want to cheer for that bad guy, and he played it up consistently all the time, and I really appreciated that. Same concept, Mitch Richmond. You guys probably wouldn't know him. He played for Sacramento Kings. Same concept. He's the guy that would score 30 points on Michael Jordan. Doesn't matter who's guarding him.
Damn.
He was lighting them up. That's fantastic. I hate Cal Ripken Jr.
Ooh.
Wow.
Hey.
Okay. No, I'm with you on this.
Why?
Keep talking. Keep talking.
He played till he was a grandpa. Couldn't even play anymore. Just stayed on the field. Everyone was like, "Yay, goal, man!" And just took that
You can
position
do
and
it.
wrote it out. And just everyone was furious with him. It was the worst thing ever. My second hate, I loved Yzerman and I loved Sergei Fedorov from the Detroit Red Wings. I hated Dino Ciccarelli. I looked at him and I was like,
Really?
"Ugh, look at you just sitting there."
I have a Dino
Smacking.
Ciccarelli story.
Right? Just smashing in little goals on the side there, just riding the coattails of my stars.
So my uncle
Yeah.
on my mom's side played for the London Knights with Dino Ciccarelli.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Was he a prick? Because that would be great.
No, my uncle was the prick and never made it to the NHL. But there's so many Dino Ciccarelli stories, which I cannot talk about here. But he's actually a really good guy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's crazy that you brought him up, and I would never have brought
I
that
hate
up.
him. I always hate him.
Okay,
I
that's
never.
fair enough. He's actually a good guy.
I love the Golden Jet, Bobby Hall, and the Golden Brett Hall. I thought it was a great like family story, and I wish they like won a lot more together.
Me too.
I love LeBron James, what he did for basketball and what he's like doing as a person. Like he's just, all of it is positive, and he's changing the concept of what you can do as an individual in sport. Did you not know LeBron?
No. I missed the name you mentioned. I fully support.
Okay.
LeBron is silent B. Laurent.
LeBron.
That's the baby from.
I love me some Mitch Marner.
He's in France.
Oh, Mitch
Yeah,
Marner.
yeah.
In France, he's known as LeBron, right?
But I hate me.
Yes.
I hate me some William Nylander.
Oh, wow.
What
This
the
whole thing is
Come
just
on, man.
carrying
Come on.
on
Willie
forever.
with the good hair.
The thing about Nylander,
All of this, though, man.
the thing about him is, I saw this coming from before, and I thought he was always going to be the Hollywood boy that always wanted more than he was worth. So I saw it 2 years ago. I knew this was going to become a problem.
Living up to that.
Right, and Marner looks like he's just a kid out there having a great time.
So he's just loving the sport.
Now,
Yeah.
when this year's over,
I would love
Marner's
playing
going
with
to turn
Tavares
into
too.
Nylander. So Marner's going to be the guy asking for $8 million after this season.
Yeah.
So I can't even. The jury's still out on him. But for right now, I'm just enjoying how he's just loving the game, doing what he's doing. So
Did you see that the video they did where I don't know who was playing basketball, but they put Marner's head and Dubas's head.
Oh, yeah. No, it was Nylander.
Yeah,
So
sorry, not Marner.
There was a
You're right,
recent...
Nylander, going back to his wanting 8 mil, right?
There was a recent video of like some kids trying to shoot a basketball in the net, and DeMarcus Cousins was blocking.
Oh, there you go.
all
That's
of
who
them.
it was, yeah.
And then someone, I think it was Tim and Sid on their staff,
Nylander's had all the kids.
put Kyle Dubas' head on DeMarcus Cousins and Nylander's head on the kid. And every time he threw a pass up, it was like $6 million, bam. $7 million, bam. It was kind of funny. Sorry, I don't mean to hijack that.
No,
Meg,
no,
but
I'm
it's
glad
a good.
you did.
It's
You
a
know
good.
more about it than I
yeah,
did,
That's
so,
hilarious.
yeah.
Speaking of the Golden State Warriors, I hate them all.
All of them.
And it's not their fault. I just hate them because like they're so good and like I don't need money. I just want to keep like winning. And I'm like, that's not what sports is about. The better players should make more money. So then it's evenly distributed between all the different teams, and we don't get that because those guys are willing to hijack the league by winning all the championships.
Right.
Shoot, I didn't know we could mention entire teams.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah, more teams.
would
Just,
give a
shoot,
Just
Montreal.
Baltimore Orioles.
yeah, the Habs, 100%.
I thought you were going to say the Orioles. Oh my god, Nash would hate you.
Orioles, yeah.
Nash would hate you so much.
We don't call them the
Tell us
Orioles.
why.
We call
Yeah.
them the
The
Trash Birds.
Trash
I
birds.
would've taken
Trash
him
birds,
on.
totally.
Oh, it just goes back to
The Orioles.
how much they suck, and just the rivalry. Like I kind of feed off of it now. Like hockey's not hockey without having some some beef.
Going into tonight,
Who leads the division?
before the Leafs won tonight, the Habs were ahead of them
Yeah, they can suck it.
without Tavares, Matthews.
But I loved PK. PK on
Yeah,
the Habs.
PK fine. That has nothing to do with
The
the team.
striker
And he no
for-
longer plays for them. The striker. No, the little You mean the little defender playing for the Marlies?
Yeah.
Oh, he's cute. He's cute.
I feel like for anyone who hated the Leafs versus Habs rivalry and hated the Habs, everyone liked PK Subban.
Yes.
And
He's a
then
great
once
guy.
they traded him, it was like I hate the Habs even more now.
Yeah. There's
And
nothing
anyone who
good about
hated
them.
PK was just because they would want PK on their team. And I
Exactly.
would call them
I
out
don't
all the
know.
time.
I find
didn't
it very
understand
hard
it.
to how you could hate someone
You
like
can't.
PK Subban. Not
Sorry, Manny Machado's on the TV. We're just giving him the middle finger. Giving
not
him the middle
only-
finger.
Not only because like PK Subban was good and like kind of like a cocky player, but like in a good way, right? But like if you ever saw what he did off the ice for his community and how he still goes back to Montreal and still supports the
Completely.
hospitals
Just a
and
great
all his
guy.
charities, It's crazy that they actually traded him.
PK
Yeah.
Subban is
And that
everything-
makes us hate the Habs more.
even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
PK Subban is everything that a hockey player should be.
Absolutely.
Now that
Any
trade,
professional athlete should be, really.
you traded because remember PK Subban. One of the big things about him was he wasn't playing on the national team. He was the seventh defenseman,
Yeah, he's on the taxi squad.
which we didn't know why he was seventh defenseman. Anyway, you trade for Shea Weber, who's 4 years older than him. So
But
now
who
you're
also started on the Canada team.
You're exactly
Who's
losing age.
who's now captain?
Who's now not playing. So captain also hasn't played in 5 months.
Yeah.
But like the whole concept of that trade was ridiculous.
Right.
So Boston's up 2-0 in the
Yeah.
World Series now.
I'm just
They're
gonna
going to take it in 4. I'm saying it right now.
before we go into the next topic, I'll just give some names of players that I
sorry.
dislike.
To you.
Can you just likes to just give it all? Good.
yeah dislikes. Tiger Woods
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
is on the top of my list because he's a piece of crap human being
Yep. Yep.
who
What if he
cheated on
changed?
his wife.
What if he changed?
I don't
No.
care, man. He did what he did.
What if he
Didn't
changed?
change.
What if he's different?
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
I hate LeBron James, and I you know what? If I were to ever go hang out with LeBron James at a bar,
You probably love it.
I would love him. But the fact that the
That you
media,
can't.
the fact that the media has made him into what he is, and how everything revolves around what he does, and where he is, and what happens.
But is that his fault?
Fair enough. Like, it's not his fault, but it is his fault. And like, I watched the game the other night where the Lakers were up by 1 against San Antonio, and he had 2 free throws and he missed both, and San Antonio came back and scored, so they were winning. And then he had the last shot and he missed it. I was cheering very hard at like 1:15 in the morning in my condo, and I was very, very happy that he missed that. Yeah,
That's hate.
Yeah.
right.
That's how you know.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to the next subject here.
Can I just say 2 things?
That's
Actually,
it.
I
That's all
thought
I
you were
need.
having more people you loved and
Way
you
more
hated, though.
people.
Yeah, but like
I didn't love anyone.
No?
I hated everyone.
PK Subban smells really, really good. I met him and he smells as good as he looks. Like, I want everybody to smell him, and I know that sounds weird, but like he
That's
smells
really weird.
impeccable. But also, I just realized that Manny Machado has cornrows, and not even like the cool, funny way like Colby Rasmus has cornrows.
He's had them the whole time.
Clearly, I'm not paying attention to Manny Machado, but
Does that make
seriously,
you hate him more?
yes, we're gonna add that he's gonna
Very
be the
shocked that this
Hope it's a grand
episode has
slam
been
next
very
season.
Manny Machado centric.
Yeah.
You know what? It's just
it needed to be brought up.
yeah.
We're gonna go to our next subject, and I'll start with you, Seb.
Oh gosh.
What's the best venue atmosphere you've attended or been a part of?
Okay.
Actually, no. You know, I'll start with myself
'Kay,
because
go
I
for
have
it.
not started
Wow.
yet.
Go. No, that's true. Go Wells.
Turn.
What's the best venue atmosphere? You might allude to, I know you were talking about being at Game 5 in the ALDS when the Jays won that crazy game. But I'll say that some of the best venues I've ever been to are best atmospheres. And when I say atmospheres, I don't mean you actually have to be a part of the actual event that happened. But I remember, and I think why I quoted venues or atmospheres more is because and Meg is here, is like I feel like when we were younger and we would make the trip from the suburbs to Toronto to watch the Leafs play in playoff games, we would watch the games in a tent outside of the ACC before it was Jurassic Park or before it was whatever.
Yes.
And we would I think one of my better memories is us going down there and driving from Mississauga and coming down to Toronto, and we were like listening to Edge 102, and all they did for 3 hours was play "We Will Rock You," and it was a Game 7 against the Senators, which makes it more of a rivalry. Back when like that was a rivalry, and we were watching the game in a tent just outside the ACC, and we like torched Patrick Aleem for like 3 goals in the first period, like Gary Roberts, like just like he had 2 goals. I think like when I think of like venues and atmospheres, I think just the atmosphere of like being with all those fans. And again, you know, I may be short-sighting the Olympics in 2010, but that's an obvious choice. But just like being with your friends and like going from like, you know, like a suburb and going to Toronto before I lived in Toronto to go watch the game and bringing people out there. And we couldn't even drink a beer yet. Well, I could, I think, but I think Megan couldn't. But just
But
going
I
and
was.
enjoying that, just going and enjoying that atmosphere, I think is a great memory. And I just want to know what you guys thought were some of your best venues. And I know you just went to Notre Dame.
I'm going to talk about that one. Yeah,
Nice.
that's one of
Go
them.
for
But-
it.
So, okay, start it up.
Yeah.
Start it up.
Okay, so I'm gonna have. I guess I'll do Notre Dame first. We went to Notre Dame. That was my first time in the college atmosphere for a college game, and I was completely blown away. And I wasn't. I was expected to be like, oh, there's a bunch of like young kids partying, whatever. But I understand the spectacle of it. There's a crazy, massive, super monster, crazy party tailgate, and it's like tens of thousands of kids between 17 and 22, whatever. Then there's people that actually are going to go to the game, and they're usually a bit older with more money, right? So you have like, I will say 150,000 people in like 5 massive parking lots, because that's how they have to fit it in there. And you can't drink inside, so you got to do all your drinking outside. You can bring whatever you want. So kids have crazy like bottles of vodkas and Hennessy's, whatever, just down
Hennessy, wow.
before this game, and it was like just bonkers. And I was just like, if I were 17 and I was at this school, I wouldn't make it. Right? The first year in,
Well, you were 30, whatever, and you still couldn't
I know,
make it.
right? Like, I have 4 girls pregnant. I fail all my
Bam,
classes. There's no way I
can't
would
miss.
survive. There's no way I'm not going to make it. And we go in the game. The game is brilliant. Like 80,000 people are packing a stadium,
crazy.
and the kids suck. Let's be honest. They're not NFL players at all.
No.
Both quarterbacks threw 3 picks. They're getting sacked left, right, and center. Kids are missing tackles, but you're getting a quality experience where like everyone's into it. The bands are amazing. The one band's on the field, the other band's like behind us, whatever. But like the college experience is spectacular. So if you have a chance to do it ever, go. The bigger the school, the better. I don't care who they're playing. If they're playing a crappy team, just go watch it. You can get in. Incredible. My other one I'm going to talk about is the Raptors. When they first started, they played out of the ACC, and those first couple games, that first year, I went to one of the first games the Raptors ever played. They filled the ACC with 50,000 people.
No, you're talking about the Skydome.
Yeah, well,
You said ACC.
Sorry. Yeah, the Skydome, the
Doug Christie
Scotiabank
era.
Center. Yeah. So
No,
anyway,
no.
ACC.
Rogers.
Rogers Center.
Right.
Back when it was the Dome.
The Skydome.
When they first
Skydome.
started.
So
Okay.
they fill the dome.
We got you.
50,000 people are watching a basketball game. You know how small that court is.
Yeah, got your binoculars.
It's Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. They're
I
playing this.
remember
game.
that game.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers that game.
Not the game we won. Forget
Oh.
when we beat them.
Okay.
When we beat them, who cares? That was like
I care.
So the Raptors are up on the Chicago Bulls in the end of the 4th quarter. This place is rocking. It's going bonkers. And not Michael Jordan, but Scottie Pippen comes on the court 3 straight possessions and knocks down jumper. Raptors lose. Everyone in the whole place was like,
Boo.
it wasn't even boo. It was just, everyone was just like,
Deflate.
oh, man.
Wah, wah.
And it was like just the whole atmosphere. Everyone was so excited. It was before the time they beat, and we were like, we're gonna beat the Bulls. We're gonna beat Michael Jordan. And the Bulls come back and they win. And everyone walked out of there, and I remember just being one of 50,000 people that walked out like, man, we almost had him. Man. And I love that moment. That was one of my favorite moments in sports.
Meg?
I'm going to go back to, anher experience that you and I, Wellesley, were lucky enough to share, and that's Winter Classic.
Yes.
Big House.
Yes.
Ann
Good
Arbor,
call.
Michigan.
Good call.
You know what? I've been lucky enough to make it to a number of arenas as well as ballparks. This sort of sets itself apart from the rest of my experiences. Just, I mean, atmosphere, I don't think will ever be matched. Could maybe be beat, but will never be matched.
Well,
It was freezing cold.
yes, the thing is,
It
like,
was freezing cold.
we were outdoors, and
Yeah.
it was like the weather was insane. But the
It
fact
was
that there
like-
was like 110,000 people there.
There
Made
were
it a little bit more.
just so many people.
Yeah.
It was a blizzard.
Yeah.
Like the winteriest
Trying to
of
find your
wintry
seat.
day. Yeah. I mean, I have video walking down to my
Yep.
seat just through the aisle, you know, and you can see the amount of people. You can see, like, you literally couldn't see the stairs. You know, they're covered in inches of snow. And it was just, you know, the epitome of what sports, again, and I keep referencing back to this, but it was just such a perfect event experience. You know, there was the rivalry between Detroit and the Red Wings and the Leafs. You know, we came out on top, which makes it even better.
Yep.
In a shootout.
You know, so we got the extended game, we got overtime, we got the shootout.
Like we needed it.
Yeah, it just, honestly, it just could not have been better. And everyone there was just loving every second of it. We were freezing cold, but it didn't matter.
I think it was,
you know, we had a huge crew that went down.
Yeah, I think it was unique because, I mean, you can go to any game, whether you're at the actual arena or watching it in a bar, but to experience what we did, we had never ever gone and seen a game outdoors.
Outside, yeah.
And not only outdoors, but in another country. And not only in another country, but in a football stadium.
Yeah.
And only a football stadium, but like with 110,000 people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just want to hijack what you were saying, but
Yeah.
like it totally, like that was.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was so incredible that it makes me almost not want to do it again.
No,
Right.
You've done it.
Yeah.
You don't want to spoil that.
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want anything to compare it to. You know, I did it once. It was perfect, and I don't want to do it again. And yeah, I don't think it'll be matched. It's going to stay up there in my books. And it was also, you know, we made a weekend of it. Obviously, we stayed in the trashiest of motels in like small town Michigan.
That's how you got it.
You know,
Just
but
so
we
you might
met.
get stabbed at night.
We met the craziest people. Like even our cab driver. Like,
Yeah.
you know, everything about it. The bar that literally had dollar beers.
Yeah. The day before, we were like we met up with the people that we were with, and like it was dollar beers, and we're watching the Canada Junior game the day before, and it was literally dollar beers.
Yeah.
And when we ordered food, they had to call the cook in early to come in and like make us
the drunks.
food.
Hey, come to work. We got some
They didn't
back
expect
here.
They
it.
need carbs.
They were 80 beers.
No, definitely that is
Yeah, so
That's
that's
awesome.
right up there
That's
for me.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Seb.
Well, this is going to turn into a big love fest, I think, honestly. Oh, my gosh. So sappy. Here we go. No, so obviously, LDS Game 5. I will actually say MLS Championship. That was my first soccer game and my first time seeing a TFC game or an MLS game. So when they won last year, so now the bar's been set pretty high. That was awesome. I've just never been to a soccer game before, so that was a cool one for me. 2000 WrestleMania at the Skydome.
What?
Hulk Hogan versus The Rock.
Are you
Yeah,
kidding?
2002, but
Yeah.
okay.
I was 13.
I was at that too.
I thought it was
2000.
2002. It was
Keep going.
2002.
Yeah, I
It
was
was
there.
2002. Was I
Yeah.
15?
No,
Yes.
WrestleMania
Oh my
2000
gosh.
was called WrestleMania 2000. That's how I know.
Did I
But
get
WrestleMania 18 was
the one that was at the? I was there. My brother took me. Yeah,
X7.
it was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan
X8.
at the Skydome.
No, I'm
That was
telling you,
insane.
I was there too.
Like that was crazy.
I was at 6 and I was at 18.
And if I got the years wrong, I apologize. But that was awesome.
fine.
Yeah. I thought I was
Yeah, The
younger
Rock
than that.
versus Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that was
Great.
that was my only in person like wrestling event,
good-
and I was
good choice.
obsessed.
You know, I know. I
Yeah.
feel like I got so many wrestling ones I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm
that
hoping
was-
the
that
can
was
worms,
good.
but that was an unreal experience. But another one too, just being a lover of baseball, was this girl and I took our Chicago road trip last year in
Nice.
August
That
to
was
go
on my list,
see
too.
the Blue Jays at Wrigley Field.
Nice.
Yeah, and just the history behind it, always wanted to see it, and that at least half the people there were Blue Jays fans. So the "Let's Go Blue Jays" chant,
In Wrigley.
in Wrigley,
Yeah.
right? And such an historic part with someone who I'm consider, like a sister, if you will, was
Oh my
awesome.
God.
Yeah.
That was so much.
Yeah, so, right?
Oh
I know,
my
I'm sorry, I
God.
get
I'm immediately
sappy.
changing the topic right
This
now.
is why sports, this is what it
Jesus.
does.
I'm gonna go back to WrestleMania 6.
Yes.
So
I
I
was
was
there
there with
too,
my
yeah.
dad, and
I was 5.
Yeah, right. I was just saying that too. I was like 7. Anyway, the moment
Hulk Hogan versus Warrior.
where Warrior pinned Hogan, I remember turning to my dad and swearing for the first time.
What?
I looked at him.
7?
I was like,
N-word or F-word?
Oh my God.
I dropped the N-word to my dad. Well,
Oh,
anyway, I looked at him and I totally dropped like, what the F? And he was just like, I know, he's never lost before. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it because basically my whole life, Hulk Hogan never lost.
disappointed.
I was just like, who is this Ultimate Warrior guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, who's this guy? Like, who's this guy beating Hulk Hogan? It's ridiculous. Can't believe this. Anyway, I freaked out a little bit, and that's my experience. But that was like insane. There's so many people. It was such a big place, and like I couldn't see anything. Obviously, I watched it on TV like everybody else who was sitting at the top. But there's something to be said about even if you have crappy tickets, just being
part of the atmosphere, which is what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, just being physically there. If you have to get crappy tickets, it's worth it to get those tickets. Just be in the building for special events.
Like kind of a add on to that was the first ever UFC in Toronto when they were at the Rogers Center and GSP.
Coming back in a couple months.
They're coming back in a month, but like in the Rogers Center, the first ever event they had in Toronto when they sanctioned was a pretty big event. Okay,
It was that one.
Everything's
that one
happening
I
on your
remember.
birthday.
There are many sporting events.
April 30th is
That one I
a
remember
big
also
day.
from the
Hominins
from the
welt.
giant egg
Oh
that
my
grew from
gosh,
his
he
head.
did.
The
Like, we could
hematoma.
literally see from the back of the 100s.
You could see it growing in
Yeah.
about 14 seconds. Yeah.
Let's go on to the next topic, and this is
I have a random aside before you do that.
Sure.
Remember when Kimbo Slice fought that guy with that big like cyst thing on his ear, and then he popped
The
it,
yeah.
and they just stopped the fight
Cauliflower,
immediately?
yeah.
They were like, "We can't do this."
Oh my god,
They were like,
cauliflower
"This is
rest in
ears.
peace, Kimbo
Wait,
Slice.
Dave's gonna say he's
R.I.P.
he's
Well,
not.
that's all I remember from him is that time that guy and he popped that big thing on his ear, and they were like,
The Kimbo Slice era.
yeah.
My
It
gosh.
was huge.
It was huge, short-lived, but huge.
2009.
"Yep,
Oh, the
We're not-
era or the ear?
the era."
Era.
Oh my god.
Not here
All
for
I
a
remember
long
is that ear fight. That's all I remember.
Cauliflower
is
ears creep me
I was just
out.
like, "What is that?
my
Why is
God.
it? Why are they even fight with that in his ear? They could have popped it before the fight. That's what I didn't understand. Like before the fight, stick a pin in that thing, squeeze everything out of it, and let that guy go in the ring.
Okay,
Why are you gonna
next
let, like,
topic.
He wasn't here for a long time. He was here for a good time.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
Kimbo Slice.
I have a suit from Indochino, and that's what's I'm here for a good time.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
inside my suit.
Nice.
Are we good?
It was a good side note, actually.
Yeah.
Like that was a good little segue.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears here, and we're gonna talk about more of the local sports scene here. And
The local sports scene.
Toronto is very,
this
very,
question.
very lucky to have the off season that we had. And so my question for this segment here is, which athlete is going to have the biggest impact on Toronto sports? And I'm talking 3 athletes here.
Oh,
Now, I think this might be geared towards two of these athletes more than one, but I'm going to include all 3. And I'll start with John Tavares. Will he have a bigger impact than Kawhi Leonard will with the Raptors? Or will Vladdy Guerrero Jr. down the road, will he have a bigger impact than any of these 3 athletes? And this is a legit question because, okay, we're going to have Tavares for the next 7 years. That's guaranteed. Kawhi we're going to have for 1 year, guaranteed. Maybe more. We don't know. We hope more. And then Vladdy Guerrero Jr., who is arguably the best prospect in baseball, we know the second he steps on the field, we'll have him for at least 6 years. So my question to you guys is, which athlete will have the biggest impact on this city
overall.
And I'll start with you, Seb.
All right. Oh, okay. So I think you made a good point is in terms of what timeline are we looking at right now, down the road.
Well, you
right?
you can approach it any way you want.
Okay. So I actually said that if I'm looking right now, Tavares is
Okay.
actually mine.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I say that is you take a look at, what the Leafs have accomplished in the past 2 years, right? So last in league to now, the playoffs last year and now having the best player that we could possibly ask for in that spot. You plunk him in right now. The spotlight, the focus, the hype has, I think, far outreached the hype that we've seen of the other 2 players. With Kawhi, I would say that as much as, he's killing it and they're resting him for his ankle, whatever it is now, but I'm wondering if he's still going to be in the shadows of those who hold DeMar DeRozan so high and what that he did for
miss
Toronto,
him.
honestly, right? So I think that Kawhi's problem is that he's going to be living in that shadow, and he's going to have to try to overcome that to really have the sort of impact that we're talking about in this argument. But with Tavares, he's already done that. The hometown kid coming in when the Leafs are at the top that they can be, you plunk him in, you put him with Matthews. That's going to have the biggest splash right now. With Vladimir Guerrero, the Leafs are going to, with the Blue Jays, they're going to have a little bit of sleeper years for the next couple years. And unfortunately, for those who are just maybe casual baseball players, they're not really going to pay attention to the Blue Jays as much as they would during the big years, right?
Fans.
Yeah.
Our players too.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, we're casual players, we're fans, yeah.
I know you're really geared up.
Sorry. I'm into it. No, but, he's going to be kind of establishing himself during a couple sleeper years, right? So down the line, absolutely, he's going to have the biggest impact out of those three, but we're not going to see that until that they're competitive again in whatever it is, 3-4 years.
In 2025.
Are you sure, though?
No, we're
Smythe?
not. I'm going to take three different approaches. So I'm going to start with Tavares. He's not even the best player on the team right now.
Nope.
I agree.
So it's very hard for us to say he'll have the most longest lasting impact. Now, I made a prediction before saying that Austin Matthews will be the guy to leave the Leafs. If that happens, then Tavares becomes much more important. Then we see what happens with maybe not the contender anymore that they were prior. But Tavares right now, he's here, but Tavares isn't the impact guy that we're looking for. The impact guy right now is Matthews, who's benefiting from playing the second line of other teams, right? So Tavares is just playing top line teams. He's going to score his points, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be the person that captivates the city because we already have the Marner, we already have Matthews, we already have guys that the city is in love with already. So Tavares adds to that, but I don't think that he's going to be that impact guy moving forward. Kawhi Leonard is the Toronto Raptors. So the difference is Kawhi Leonard, this city right now is pushing to keep this guy here. This guy's out. He dropped 35 points tonight. He's playing as good a basketball as he can possibly play for this city, and we're expecting to go to the NBA Finals. We're expecting a championship run. The Leafs, we are favored to have a championship run, but if it doesn't happen, nobody's going to be upset about that. Did Wells just leave?
Yeah, Wells is out.
He's gone. Anyway.
He gone. He gone.
And Vladdy Guerrero Jr., like you said, it's going to take a few years, and they're not going to be good years for the Jays.
No.
Right? But the thing is, he's here for 6 years no matter what.
Yes.
So in the long term, I think he has the most chance to become that big-time star for us because obviously we need a next Joey Bats, right? We need a next Vernon Wells.
The next franchise player, right?
He is that guy, right? Now, the problem with him, though, he's like 249, and he's already had a knee surgery. I don't know how helping this guy. Like, where is he going to play in the field?
Baby's
thick.
got
he's
back.
thick.
Yeah, right?
Our thick son is what I think.
Right? Big boy's going to be a DH his whole life. I don't know what he's going to do out here.
Yeah.
He's got some work to do. You know, if he figures that out, he's going to play some first base.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm okay when he figures that out during the sleeper rebuilding years, if you will, of the Blue Jays, and that's okay.
He needs a personal. He needs something. He's got to put in work, right?
Yeah.
So I'm say right now, if Kawhi signs, and I think he will, because there's nothing like going 70 and 10, whatever the hell they're going to be this year, and going to NBA Finals. I think he's going to sign on for those 5 years. And I think this city is going to turn into a basketball city behind Kawhi Leonard and these Raptors.
Right.
Because the core of this team is together for the unforeseeable future. There's no reason for anyone to leave this team. They're going to be great forever.
Right.
With the Leafs, you win a cup this year, Tavares is God. I don't care what you say. They don't win a cup this year, and they're on the cusp for a couple of years. By the time you get to the 4th or 5th year, he's just another player.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're not waiting 4 or 5
No.
years.
No.
Right. We don't have 4 or 5 years, right?
No.
You're going to lose Marner and Nylander to this next year. And I don't know if Austin Matthews is signing back. Now, if you lose them both, then you're back to being an average team.
For sure.
That's your fear.
This is what I think is the interesting thing about this question is I think the one thing that we can all agree on is there's very different timelines with all three of these players, right? And I've always said that there's not enough Toronto sports mojo for all 4 major teams to be successful at the same time.
Well, the TFC just missed the playoffs, so they're trash right now.
It doesn't happen. Yeah. So I think, our argument is kind of there that they're not all going to win, and they're not all going to be at their excellent,
At
their
the
excellence
same
at the
time.
same time.
Well,
so these timelines will kind of,
We're
parallel
looking
to
at
that.
the Leafs and the Raptors being at their peak right now.
Yeah.
We can arguably say the last couple of years we had the TFC, the Jays at their peak, and the Argos just came off winning a Grey Cup. No one cares, but they did. They did.
Yeah.
So
That's
but
not.
it's
That's
very
not-
interesting, and it depends on what happens with Kawhi, and it depends what happens with Dubas and this Leafs team, because everyone's judging Dubas right now, what he does with Nylander,
Right.
which I don't think is fair. You can't.
No, you have to. You have to judge Dubas on that. But
Do you?
let's stick to the topic, Meg. Who do you have as being the biggest like shapeshifter or the biggest like influential part of the city of these three players?
Well, so I guess, I'm a girl who enjoys sports. So when I was first
Nice. Welcome to the
asked
podcast.
this question,
Thanks
yes,
for that.
Thank you. My heart, is a big deciding factor. And so when you asked me who had the most impact, I immediately just thought, on myself. And so there's no question that JT91 is the answer. No disrespect to Kawhi or to Vladdy. They are and will be, equally important to their respective teams. But I just, and I already mentioned how the signing of Tavares was such a huge moment for the city. I just think because he represents so much possibility, and it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. There's huge expectation.
When the Leafs win the Cup?
The
Are you
parade.
promising a Stanley
The
Cup?
parade is happening.
You guys
I'm
heard
gonna-
it here
okay.
first.
I'm gonna-
Guaranteed
I jokingly,
Stanley
like-
Cup win by
Because
Megan
I'm going
Benson.
to say that Megan has
On this
brought
day,
in-
yeah.
I jokingly called it off when they lost 2 games in a row
You're like,
recently.
"It's over."
But they won tonight, and so it's back on. It's
back on. The parade's back on.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the
But
year, you guys.
there's a lot of sentiment involved when a hometown boy is
Sure.
signed
Totally.
to a team
Yeah.
that is looking so promising and that, expects so much. And I just think that can't be beat. It doesn't matter how good, how skilled of a player you are. There's nothing that can beat playing for your hometown team. Kawhi didn't grow up sleeping in Raptors sheets.
No.
You don't know that.
And he doesn't care.
Well, the media didn't do him any favors in
Making fun of his laugh for
well, not making fun of his laugh, but the general impression was given.
Yeah.
Or it was made to seem that he didn't want to be here, that
No.
he was mad.
That's
about,
not his fault.
about being here. No, not his fault. But that's the impression that was made.
Yes.
Whereas when Tavares was signed, the impression that was made
totally.
was that he was living out a dream.
Yep.
And everyone can relate to that. And so there's a ton of sentimental value to that just honestly cannot be replicated, cannot be beat.
Completely.
Unless the exact same scenario plays out in another sport, in which case, I would give it equal comparison. But in this case, you're asking me to compare these three. There is no question. Tavares,
That's your...
100%.
And it goes back to the romanticism of sports, too, and why people
Sure.
enjoy it.
Whatever you wanna
Right?
call
The
it.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it something to say that Kawhi Leonard is putting up MVP numbers and Tavares is not?
Well, here, and I'm going to chime in with my vote here.
No one cares what you're voting.
No, I know. I agree. But I think the biggest impact on the city right now will be made by Kawhi Leonard, because if you look at these three players, you have an MVP final, like MVP
Yes.
of the championship
Credentials,
winner.
definitely.
No offense to John Tavares, he hasn't really won much, but he is a great player.
Yes.
And Vladdy, we don't know what's going to happen yet. We don't know. Like, he can step on the field and be the worst player ever,
Yep.
because we don't know yet, right?
He hasn't done it.
But
He
Kawhi
hasn't taken a
Leonard,
major league pitch.
Kawhi Leonard, we have to magnify in this 1 year of. I really think he is already the best player of all time on this franchise.
Yeah. The thing about Kawhi Leonard, the only thing that's hindering him is he's not long term. Jonathan Tavares.
We don't
is
know if
signed-
he's long-term.
Exactly. Jonathan Tavares is signed for 7 years. We know
Right.
from today till 2025.
Today, right now.
Well, this is what I
Jonathan
said.
Tavares is
I said Tavares is here for 7 years.
Yes.
The second that Vladdy steps on the field, he's here for 6 years minimum. Kawhi, we have 1 year of.
right, which is why
1 year of guaranteed.
Yes.
But we don't know what's going to happen with
Exactly.
him. But this whole year, and when I mean like biggest, most significant impact is fans, media, the team, everything is impacting Kawhi Leonard to see if this thing goes really well, we might have a shot at signing this guy long term. 5, 4, whatever it is. I don't know how the NBA works. You guys are better on that. But like, for what he is, he might be the greatest player. No, he is the greatest player to ever put on a Raptors uniform. But he's also a top 5 player in the NBA right now.
Easily.
And he could be the MVP. People are calling him to be the MVP in the second game of the year. He's at the free throw line.
Yeah, but that's because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
We get excited.
Yeah.
I think he will have the greatest impact on the city because I think...
But you said long term, though.
No, I was saying you can accumulate long term. You can add that into it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying... I feel like he takes his team further than any of these Toronto teams will this year. No offense to the Leafs, Tavares. They play in a really tough division with Tampa and Boston, and I don't know if they can get over that hump. Whereas Kawhi in the Eastern Conference,
not playing a tough division.
I feel like they could win. They could just steamroll people.
The fear we have really is Kawhi leaving after 1 year.
But we have to approach it as in like you're dating someone above your league.
Yeah.
And you were doing everything you can
to keep that
to
make that
impress him and to woo him and to make sure that he stays here. And I feel like
a long-term relationship.
And that's why I said the media, the coaching staff, the fans, everyone is on their best behavior right now.
He's also showing you who he is.
Yes.
Right? 35 tonight. He's putting up huge numbers. He sat out a game. I'm not a fan of people sitting out games, but whatever.
No, but whatever. It's
he can do whatever he wants at this point. But like my thing is, Tavares is committed until mid 2020.
Yeah.
Right. We have Guerrero Jr. locked until 2024. So
at least 2025 it will be probably.
Whatever. So in terms of like commitment over time, if Kawhi stays, I think it's Kawhi for sure. If he leaves, though, I agree with Megan. Like Tavares, has this franchise, because Toronto's already nationally televised. They're the most covered hockey team. But now for the next 6 years, you can cover this hockey team, no question. You have a top tier superstar here, right? I don't know. I think the Leafs are in a great. I think Toronto as a city,
Agreed.
great.
Yeah, we're very. Yeah. We as like Toronto fans, we are very lucky right now to have this sort of debate.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky to have all this.
It's a good problem to have.
I feel like Boston.
Yeah.
Boston has good teams everywhere. I feel like we're going to be the next Boston.
Yeah.
I don't want to be related to that at all. But I get what you're saying.
But it's about time.
Let's finish up.
Amen.
On our... Okay, Meg's
It'll
done.
be fun.
All right, then.
I keep going.
I'm having a
Let's
great
go.
time, guys.
Yeah, well, I know you're against the clock. I get it. Okay. But we're going to finish up with a very light subject here. And basically what I'm asking here is give me your top 5 sports-related films of all time.
Yes.
Top 5?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Well, you know that.
Why not have to look for more? I thought.
Well, you're not going first.
No.
And when I say top 5, I mean like, your most favorite, memorable, whatever. Top 5 films of all time. I'll start with you, Seb, because I see you have your sheet.
I got my
ready.
notes. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I remembered the order properly.
Oh, you ordered them.
I did order. This is actually
You don't.
scientific.
It doesn't have to be in order, but
No,
if you want to go in order, by all means, go ahead.
Order sounds way more put together.
So, top 5 sport films of all time. Number 1, Little Giants.
Wait.
Hey.
When you say number 1, are you starting at like 5?
No. Actually, should I start from the...
Yes.
Okay.
Go from 5 to 1.
Sorry. Okay. So repeat. Spoiler alert. I already did that one. So the 5th one, last on the list, was Blades of Glory.
Last on the least.
Oh, really? Okay.
Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was a great movie. Figure skating, sport movie.
Cut off your face and wear it to my birthday party.
Yeah. 4th was Moneyball.
Okay.
Moneyball.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different
Totally.
type of movies there. But
3rd was Goon.
Oh.
Goon, yeah. Yes, Goon. And I will say, Goon, I had no expectations for. I put it on. I'm like, let's see how this goes. And I've never been so pleasantly surprise with any movie in my life.
Do you have any Percocet? And can I have some Percocet?
And sometimes garbage just flies in my face. Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It's great. It's great.
We saw a preview of that. Like, we saw a screener of that. Myself and Meg.
and Jay Baruchel was there.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was a writer.
No, so that's awesome. Has to be on the list. Number 2, Mighty Ducks number 1.
Oh.
Of course.
Triple
Yeah. Triple D. Quack, quack, quack. Yep. And number 1.
Spoiler alert.
No.
Back to number 1. Wait, can I
Devin
guess?
Sawa.
Can I
Guess,
guess?
everyone.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it?
Oh,
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
Le Petit
Yes,
Gigantes.
intimidation.
Yeah, Spike, don't play with girls. Yeah, number 1, Little Giants, because I actually memorized that entire movie as a child. Yeah,
we should have just been growing up together.
I had the
watched
biggest
that
crush on the
VHS.
like tomboy girl in that
well,
movie.
and that's another thing. So
of
to get
course,
into
of
it, finally, like a sports movie with like an actual girl player,
Yes,
right? That
yes.
didn't back down, and Becky did her thing, Icebox did it, and at the end she got Tevin Sawa, which was all of our dreams. So
That's right.
Still
All right,
So,
Meg. Meg, do you have yours in order, or are you just gonna give us 5?
You know what? No, I couldn't get that far. I got 5, but
Okay.
I had in no particular order.
Sure.
And I also could have had many more on this list, but these are memorable and funny enough, they are all childhood movies.
yes, yeah.
Fair enough.
So, one of the 5 is The Sandlot.
yes.
Of course,
Which I'm very
course.
excited that they're remaking.
Again?
What? They are?
Yeah. This was made public knowledge last year at some point. I think it's well into the works.
I'm not looking forward to that, but
Well,
okay.
Anyway, I mean, it's not going to be be comparable. It never is.
I don't
but
think they need to remake it,
it's
but
like
sure.
A Star Is
I
Born.
feel like Alex did a good job.
Everyone should see A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
You too, Wells.
we couldn't get out of this.
Mighty Ducks 1 was also on my list. Obviously.
Absolutely.
That's just a
Okay.
given.
Yep.
Coach
Pacey.
Bombay.
Yep.
Ken Pacey. That's right. A League of Their Own.
Oh,
No, great movie.
One of A League
Yes.
of Their Own. I'm
Yes.
talking the one with Madonna.
Yeah. This
Madonna,
used to be my
not Tom
playground.
Hanks. Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
And Rosie and Gina Davis.
Fabulous movie.
You know, all the classics.
choice.
Very
Yeah.
petty.
Good choice.
Little Giants is also on my list because
Yes.
I literally, like, any day that I was homesick from school, that
Yes.
VHS was in my VCR, and
Yes.
I played it, like,
Okay.
not just once, but
Fair enough.
many times.
How
So
have we not had this
I
conversation
completely
before?
relate. Okay.
Oh my
And then
God.
another one. Tell me, guys, if you know the movie Ladybugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was his
Okay.
name?
Rodney,
Landis?
Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was Jonathan Brandis.
Brandis.
was the Devin Sawa of Ladybugs.
Yeah.
And
He pretended he
being-
was a female.
He did. He put on a wig and played for a girls' soccer team.
What?
But obviously relatable to me because of soccer and whatever. Anyway, that was another movie that I watched
Relatable to me.
over and over again, and just really is memorable.
Love
for me.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So that's
Smythe?
my top
Are
5.
you gonna go, or you
Nice.
want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay.
I'll let you want to movie though.
I'm along with Meg. I don't have a particular order here, but I will go in my top 5. Rocky, the original,
I can't.
because it's just like a trendsetter for uplifting stories. Moneyball, because it was so well done. Sandlot is also on my list.
Yep.
Major League, which I'm surprised no one's mentioned yet, might be my most favorite sports movie.
Yeah.
And Mystery Alaska. Yeah.
What is this?
Mystery Alaska
Find something for you.
is like a hockey movie about like a small town
Yeah.
in Alaska.
Yeah.
And I think you probably saw it with me in the theater, but
Come
I don't know.
on.
Maybe, I don't know. It was in that time. It was just a feel good story. Goon though, I'm
Goon
very
is-
disappointed
Goon
I
is
did not
huge.
bring
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, no.
Goon was
I'm
huge.
glad that was on somebody's
Yes.
list.
Right.
because
Got it.
I would
I
also
got you
share
guys.
that sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smythe, go ahead.
Um,
Close this out.
Above the Rim.
Okay.
I don't know that one.
What?
Silence.
Tupac.
Tell us
Shakur.
more. Sports movie with Tupac?
Yes. Oh my god.
Tell
What?
us. Yeah. No.
It's about basketball. The kid want to go to Georgetown. You ever seen this? It's
Did he go
it's
to Georgetown?
It's like yeah, at the end.
In the end he went?
Georgetown.
Okay, that's
yeah,
good.
It's
Spoiler
like a
alert.
gangster.
Well, now I can't see it.
Really? Oh my god. Okay.
I'll
Feel
add it to the Netflix
Feel
list.
the Dreams.
Okay,
Yes.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Build them, they will
Do you remember the
come.
movie with Hulk Hogan where Zeus
No Holds
initially
Barred.
appeared? Okay, No Holds Barred. No? Nobody.
Yeah.
Zeus comes in, he's a crazy bad guy. Anyways, so he happens, he beats Zeus. Then in real wrestling, Zeus like shows up.
Zeus was
in
also
WWF, and everyone just freaked out, like, "Oh my god, it's real!"
He was
It's
the
not
dude
like the
from
movies."
Friday.
Yeah,
Debo.
Debo. It's Debo from Friday. White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Wesley Snipes making 2 appearances here
There you
on
go.
Major
Yeah.
League. And
Right. He got game.
Oh, okay, all right.
Denzel.
Yeah.
And Friday Night Lights, the classic.
Oh,
I was,
Yes.
that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Say that.
Like that's
I never watched the show, but the movie
the
was so
the
good.
movie was Friday. I think that's my number one. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
now number one.
are you calling?
Yeah, that's
locking
my
it
number
in.
one. If I had to-
Locking
if
it in.
If I had to like Friday Night Lights, White Man Can't Jump, Hulk Hogan, Above the Rim.
Hulk
He got
Hogan.
game.
It's called No Holds Barred.
I get it, but it was Hulk Hogan.
It's a Hulk Hogan movie.
I
Did
loved
we-
Hulk Hogan back then.
Like, can you guys think of anything that we missed off the hop? Like,
Oh, I mean, I could expand.
Rookie of the Year is one that I
Yeah.
missed.
Yeah, definitely missed that.
What's the one with Sandra Bullock and
Oh,
Blindside.
Blindside.
Okay, all right.
Someone can make the case for like Varsity Blues.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Any given
Moxon.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Remember
Any
that?
Given Sunday was a good one.
Gridiron
Yeah.
Gang.
Yeah, Gridiron
Yeah,
Gang was the Bad News Bears.
Bad News
Oh,
Bears.
The original.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So many good ones.
There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones.
Okay, guys, I think that's gonna finish it up here.
I just really like to tell Megan.
Already?
We've gone over 2 hours.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you and see, you survived the 2 hours.
We squeaked over it. Well, she's gonna regret it tomorrow,
You should
but
put this out in 2 parts. I apologize to the listeners.
I'm really happy that we're actually on episode 42, though. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
Kyle Wellwood.
Oh my God!
Come on. This
Oh,
is a thing,
wow.
guys. This is a
Laz
thing.
is like,
Oh my
Kyle
God,
Wellwood.
that's not even what I was
Jackie
getting at. But okay, I was like
Robinson.
Jackie
This is a
Robinson.
thing.
Yeah, you guys
No.
broke the
The
barrier.
meaning of
Yeah.
life is 42, but you went. Oh gosh.
Listen.
All right.
Wellesley,
Yeah.
to
We
literally
should have had a subject about Kyle Wellwood, but we didn't.
Cookie Monster.
Didn't happen though.
No, this has been.
Next time.
I like again, like I said, it flew by, right? Like
Hats off to you. You put this
times,
together.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No,
Well-
but no, it flew by, and you guys.
You guys had a great.
You
had
guys
a
were
great.
seamless.
Yeah.
You guys
Did
were
have a great
awesome.
time.
It was
Can
like it's like you guys wanted to do your own.
Can we come
podcast.
back?
Oh.
Pumpkins.
Spice, pumpkin spice.
It wasn't too pumpkin spice, though,
No,
was it?
no,
No, here's the thing. We should talk about that.
Yeah, no, that was more. I think we can actually get past pumpkin spice and just have the Meg and Seb show.
I think
Oh,
we,
Meg and
yeah,
Seb.
I think we surpassed pumpkin spice as a title.
Yeah.
No,
But-
I think that's a nice hook
Yeah, I
and
think,
liner.
Yeah, I
like
think you can do. People are like,
that's a good
What
title.
is that?
Yeah.
Click right away.
You
But
think
you-
they would disregard us based on that?
No,
I think
no.
We should
no.
keep
you think
pumpkin
it's good?
spice.
No, I think they
Oh.
they'd be like, oh, pumpkin spice, and they listen to it and be like overwhelmed by how good it. Cheers.
Wasn't me.
Would they be overwhelmed by like how much it's better than pumpkin spice?
There you go. It's true. We could be the sleeper ones where we go in and
thank you.
they don't expect anything and boom.
That means a
Bam.
lot.
Them.
It's been good.
Well, I mean, on behalf of both of us, thanks for
Thank
having
you, guys.
us. This
no,
is
Yeah.
a
no,
really
thank
cool
you.
experience.
So if you want to plug your Instagram, your Twitter,
Now's
go
the
ahead.
time. Now's the time.
Meg, go ahead if you want to,
Ooh,
or you don't
you
want
know what?
to.
I've been thinking about changing it lately, but since I haven't yet, you can find me at Meg Ben, MEGBEN 85. Don't do the math.
Wait, is don't do the math a part of it?
No, Matt. Yeah.
No, it's not.
So MegBen85,
Yeah.
and that's on.
That's Instagram,
Instagram?
as well as the Twitter,
The Twitters.
which
Yeah.
I'm not so active
Lay
on,
tweets.
but
Seb.
you know.
So Instagram is SueEllen20. That's my lucky number for the Instagrams. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at SueEllenB20
Oh,
on Twitter. B20.
B20.
Yeah.
Switching it up.
Switching it up.
Sue
But yeah.
Ellen, still 20.
Yeah.
fair enough. I'm still on Instagram as Veepin52 and on Twitter as Veep52. I have an announcement.
Oh.
Horseplay is returning
Wow. Could be a
next week.
back-to-back.
Next week, Horseplay is returning. I told you guys it would, and it's going to. So you can all shove it if you thought we weren't going to return.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that.
Wait,
And-
which one is this?
Yeah, and Smythe finish
Okay.
us off.
You can find the team podcast on
Spotify.
Spotify. You can find us on
iTunes.
Google Play. You
Google
can find us
Play.
on iTunes.
iTunes.
But also our favorite places are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and my favorite place, Tumblr. Also, you can find everything at The Park Daily. I'm going to do this for Nash.
Yeah,
helps
man.
out a lot if you guys go on there and check. They run some ads. They pay some bills on there. And it's a great place. So check us out on The Park Daily. Also, check out everybody's Instagrams. I'm really easy to find. If you can find the Team Podcast anything, you'll see me. So hit me up. And that's it, guys.
That's it.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us. This was a blast.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
We
I want to do it
we
again.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely have you guys back.
Yeah.
And let's talk pumpkin spice.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Nash, Wells, and Smythe host the Team Podcast. We love sports just like you.